You feel the danger closer than your heart. When the weight is getting heavy and the future is unsteady, close your eyes, close your eyes. Think about all the dreams you keep inside. Think about all the ones you love. I know this beating heart will be my guide. I know that we can overcome. When the world's so cold and we're losing hope, I need her, I need her. When the darkness comes and we're overrun, yeah, I need her. That's when we need each other. 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 That's when we need each other.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Sorry for that small little pause, but we're ready to go here for map number 2. Very dominating performance from Easter in the first one on the Moscow Hardpoint. We transition to now negotiate over the Miami Search and Destroy. And I'll just say this much. I mean, Visions, that was a very fluid, very controlled hardpoint all the way in for Easter. Obviously, great performance from both Fellow and John. Good to see that. I think if you're a fan of both of those guys, wanting to get to the Pro League again. But now that we get into Miami Search and Destroy, this is where I really feel like this team will be tested, because this Built by Gamers roster has not changed since they played together in that first Elite Series stage.
That's got to be the biggest factor coming in towards, the 8 teams that we do have here for ourselves. So it's just a matter of, are they going to be able to get back to where they were, where it feels like they're playing in a lot of these longer tournaments and they're able to, go in towards these opens and have great performances. And maybe it's just the fact that they're playing game after game after game, that when they're talking about it, they're improving drastically compared to where we see a lot of their league matches where maybe they're being prepped for, and some of that vetoes, that comes in towards play with the map pool and things like this, maybe plays an effect on them. I think this is something we talked about pretty heavily within stage 1 that did affect a lot of teams and might just be overall something that is hindering this squad. But we do know that they have the ability to be able to bounce back. I mean, how many times has BBG went down 0-2 in a series now and somehow got it towards the map 5, and a lot of those cases sometimes win it, right? So you can never count these guys out.
No, without doubt, you cannot. And I think just for me, the meta has shifted in a way that makes this map, it does work a little bit differently, but not dramatically to the point where you're going to see something too wild. Not that the QBZ is into the mix. I think a lot of it just comes down to the weapons that you'll see being used is a product of whatever play style and speed the team wants to play at. We've seen aggressive offenses, sure, absolutely, and that sometimes is including 3 SMGs that happen. We've also seen very passive defenses in where you see 3 Krigs in the setup. But as we jump into this, it will be Built by Gamers on the defense first. They've already found the first 2 kills, so it's just going to be down to a 2v4 situation for Jordan Gravity to kind of work, and they're going to be trying to do that over towards the A site.
Yeah, the problem is you kind of need Jordan to make a play here, but he's got the bomb, and does he actually feel like dropping this? It looks like they are going to drop this into 2v4 in Miami, so a couple of clutch gunfights need to be won. You think maybe one right away for Jerd, but everyone is stacking over by that beat site, so it gives them a window to be able to at least get set up here potentially. It's Jordan towards the back, looking to maybe catch one of these first players crossing, and now BBG, they're starting to retake here, 2-2 on both players.
Timing here for Jerd is actually, I was going to say maybe incredible, but he does get picked up just a touch down to 10 HP. Going to break through the glass. Scotter X starting to defuse. Nice shot punch for Jerd. It keeps the play alive, but is he in a position to where he can even contest the defusal? The answer will be no, as that'll be stuck, and the easy kill comes through just from the outside of the bomb site for Built by Gamers' first successful defense.
That's tough, right? I mean, you lose 2 of your players, you're looking to make a push over by the site here on the beach, and it's just so difficult to really get this down. And maybe if you find that first kill, like if Gravity maybe gets a kill on towards Pentagram here and creates a bit of pressure and relieves maybe some here for Jerd to make a play, you have a chance, but it's just so difficult here on Miami. So it's going to be a good defensive round coming through initially, and now we're going to switch sides and see what BBG are looking to do. I feel like teams have just opted into getting more comfortable with A, and at least gives them options. And we talk a lot about 50-50ing top piano, where you have a couple of really versatile subs, like like Kismet and Pentagram here to create some plays. And they are going to opt in for this here the very first round and make a play towards Garage and see if they can utilize it.
John holding a corner. We saw him do this during the elite qualifiers with great success. Trophy has been deleted though, so there's actually very valuable information. John's gonna get sent text to hell and back, but is still alive. Kismet trying to play for the immediate exchange. Does find first blood. Gravity over the jump wall. Good for not just one, but two. Has shots down onto Pander for the third. Tries to lock him down and will. Leaves it just up to GodRx for what will have to be a 1v2. And, actually, pardon me, would be a 1v3 in technicality. He finds the first two, but cannot escape with his life. And fireworks here in round number 2 in Miami.
Yeah, this play right here from Gravity. I mean, how many times have we seen players that play the middle of the map just do this jump wall play, and the player who's planting the bomb is pretty weak? And I like this play from Gravity. He goes for this challenge knowing that there's probably going to be a trade, but he's already got Pander weak enough where he can get that kill in before he ends up being traded. So he just gets a 3-for-1, saves the round because of that first blood that ends up coming in there onto John. And a big adjustment here to make sure that you do not fall early down 0-2. So we'll see that play a pretty important factor for as far as getting ourselves in towards the mix early. But yeah, very explosive for us. It's kind of like it's kind of how we like to see it, Alan, going in towards now what will be our swing round number 3. And it's gonna be the same play for Easter. They're gonna go back towards this A site and see if they can create some plays.
Now, again, because there are some issues sometimes getting into the lobbies quickly, we don't know where these first 2 kills were last time around, and this time it's actually Gravity for not just the first, but the second kill. Kismet did not have a good angle on anybody with the 74U. And so now first 2 kills good for Easter's offense as they've got numbers to work over to A. Pentagram is going to be here defensively. Pander's trying to play an angle from top piano to see if maybe he can find someone on the cross, but Pentagram really can't do too much with the Krig. He's going to have to hold his life, maybe hopefully find some timing on a pick. But as he gets stunned up, John finds the kill, leaving things just down to a Pander 1v4, and he doesn't seem to be interested. He's going to go for a swim.
We'll swim here out in Miami, and I think that's the problem. As soon as the 2 players who are defending the A site end up dropping, like, where are the other 2 players, right? They're going to be over defending the other side because of how the map works. So you have to kind of split 2 and 2 a lot of the time, or at least have one player over here by the beach side and then have one that can at least bounce back and forth. But here's the problem, right? John gets completely tagged up from Kismet, and then Gravity just gets here in time to make sure that his teammate stays up, or at the very least, he will get himself the trade to still come out with the numbers advantage. So you lose both of your players right away, and it just becomes so difficult to do anything. Gravity here with a very nice start towards this map number 2, already 5-2. Just 3 rounds in.
My goodness, both these teams are really just launching each
at
other. I'm telling you. But this time it's going to be built by gamers trying to make a play over towards A. And GodRx, how have you read this play? Well, maybe you haven't. He was scouting about the entire time, but fellow just slightly more delayed on the peak than what was comfortable for GodRx to hold. Finds first blood. Pentagram only able to find one in response, and that was over by the B site, which is not where this play would have to go as the bomb is dropped just outside of the A courtyard.
Oh, Gravity, look, he's challenging everything right now. It's very scary when an AR at this level is playing like this, and he has found kill after kill. You kept down Pentagram, who's trying to force a play, but now the bomb's down. Pander, you got to challenge something. Instead, the challenge comes to him, and yeah, these are fast rounds for Miami, Alan. Like, we typically
for real.
see this. They're just kind of running at each other. And this opening play, unfortunate for GodRx, but a nice beam from Fellow to once again open something up here at the beginning of these rounds.
It's been interesting, not just because of the speed, but the normal angles that are usually finessed and shouldered aren't being finessed and shouldered. They're just hard sticking to them. And a lot of the gunfights are coming through much faster than we would normally anticipate. Like that one even specifically. Like, it's not often that player top side of the wall will take that aggressive peek to the player over by driveway. But apparently in Fellow's world, he does what he wants, and we're just living here and just happy to be a part of it. And now for Easter, designed over towards B. Pander, able to read a couple of members, but there is really not a lot of help here. Kismet's up top in piano, and the next rotator over would be Pentagram, and I don't know if Fellow has scouted him out or not. This is not a commitment for Easter. They technically still could get out of this garage and then rotate around, but now that you've got first blood, why would you? You can commit to the numbers and see if you can just cleanly take.
don't have top purple control, so Kismet still has a chance to be able to disrupt this entire play and this push, and now it might actually happen. Shots just need to come through. Pentagram manages to find one. Kismet turns and reads it perfectly. Jerd, the last one left alive. Sure, he got a blood, but now he's got to get himself the ace, and everyone is close in and around him. Kismet brings the challenge to him. We'll lose the gunfight, but it's okay. The trade is there, and we'll see. Built by Gamers, they'll hold on defensively here to put the second round up.
It's a hell of a read from Kismet up top. I don't know if he gets a read off of one of his teammates. I can't remember who exactly it was, but there was someone in the middle of the map that may have been able to read Fellow, but Pentagram holding on by himself. Yeah, it was GodRx that was playing over towards the A side. So I don't know if he maybe saw Fellow try to hit that hit, because Kismet reacted to that perfectly. I mean, last second challenge, essentially. And if he loses that, totally different look at what that B bomb site has to offer. But regardless, Pentagram locks down 3 kills in the round, 6 and 3 overall, leading his squad and the lobby, actually tied with Gravity when it comes to overall KD as we go into round number 6.
And knowing that you've lost a couple of these offenses, do you just try to brute force your way in towards another site here, or do you finally start to slow some of that tempo down? Now that we're about halfway through the search and destroy, that's where I would expect some of that to happen. And with the fan out on the map that we're getting offensively, that looks to be the play. You have a triple stack by B, so if you do find player 4, which will be Gravity, this is going to relieve a lot of the pressure by that A site. You can potentially look to make a plant for it. Maybe player 2 now, Fellow, might look to rotate. He's instead just kind of bobbing and weaving in and out of the middle of the map here. Could play off either site, but it's a spread. So at some point in time, I expect player 7 to make a play, and well, it is going to be Pentagram who starts to push up.
Semtex will not get the kill, and John still. What in the heavens was that?
Was he tagged, Alan?
Unbelievable.
I hope he was tagged.
I don't know if he was. Unreal. And that leads to now Easter in a 3v2 situation. Though Kismet, he's going to move with GodRx through the middle of the map, and I don't know defensively if Easter will be able to fully read this nor even respond to it. Kismet should get a free look at Jerd here in the corner, and he will. Now down to a 2v2.
2v2, you know, John was here. He just got himself a kill as well, but you have to drop this bomb. So John should be able to come right out through this doorway, get the kill, no problem. And there it is. Kismet just forced to plant in that situation. And we will get a crazy play out of John, right? Like, I'm not sure if we're going to get another look at that. This could be the play just simply because he gets the defuse in it. But yeah, I just don't know how John gets out with his life and gets that kill.
I mean, he was tagged by a couple of shots and a Semtex. And he smokes the, oh my, I mean, like, what in heaven? Like, I don't know if Gravity came over and was able to put any shots in for any team shots there, but if I were to wager, I think that's just a flat out 1 HP challenge that John has to take, and he still wins it. I mean, that's just a smokehouse.
Gross.
Brisket on the menu. Or chicken, or beef. Just everything smoked.
Everything smoked.
John Smokehouse.
John Smoke.
Who made that the call out underneath that B bomb site is John Smokehouse.
That's what we have to change it to. John to the Smokehouse again. Everybody get out. Oh, well, here comes John anyway again, making his way up and towards the top. Has managed to slip through, and well, look at where everyone's starting to look for the side of Built by Gamers, right? I think there could be a rotation. I don't think John sees Kismet make his way through garage there, and well, by the way he's starting to make his moves, it doesn't appear he has, but does find an angle to find a kill on towards Pander, so opening things up, and now it's going to be a little swimming move here from Kismet. He's under 2. Do they hear him right now? They do, and they'll find him and kill him. Now it's all up to GodRx.
I am Aquaman, says Kismet as he goes underneath the docks, but he had some sort of a sound cue, or maybe someone just saw him. Regardless of the matter, it's down to GodRx 1v4. Definitely one of those good luck, have fun moments. John extending his business to be part of a food truck. There it is. Connects. Kabang. 5-2 up Easter. My goodness. I mean, let's be honest. We watched this team, what, twice when it came down to the qualifiers, I want to say?
Yeah, we watched.
And they looked good, but they did not look this good.
No, they didn't look this good, right? And I think that's one of the big takeaways for the simple fact that these are a lot of veteran players that you have on this roster, and they were kind of thrown together for the most part last minute going in towards that qualifier. There wasn't a whole lot of time, and maybe we didn't see them, you know, at their final form, where that's starting to come online here for these guys. So they are looking pretty solid across the board. I mean, everyone's getting involved. It's not like it's just one person who's completely taking over, right? Like, this is a collective job here from every single one of these players. And Now they are just one round away, and Gravity's been opening up with a lot of first bloods as well. He did it at the start of the game. He'll find another one here.
8-3. It feels like he's quietly 8-3. Fellow not nearly as hushed as he finds the second kill and nearly snaps right onto Pander for the third. Pander still feels like he needs to challenge this, and I can understand why, because the bomb is down in front of you. Semtex, though, will be the end. Seems to be no flak jacket in the class for Pander, leaving things once again to GodRx. No chance to even get the gunfight versus Gravity at long range. So a 6-2 search after a 250 to 93 hard point. What did Easter eat for breakfast?
Well, all right. This is something, man. I mean, you could also kind of look at things and say, all right, this is the power spike for BBG, baby. 0-2 down. This is where they come back. But I mean, with the way Easter are playing, they're not giving them any room to breathe. It feels like when we look at that first hard point, if you didn't get to watch it, I mean, they put them in the 100-point club. There was a lot of great rotations. There was a lot of clutch plays as well, where they were fending off the pushes and disadvantage for as far as the numbers. We go towards the search destroy, and it's a lot of opening picks. It's a hot start going up, 3-1, and being able to kind of set this very fast tempo that BBG, it felt like we're trying to match at the beginning, but as we got longer and longer in towards that map, they kind of just felt a little bit lost, and we're getting picked apart on the map for their offenses and defenses. We're no longer finding favor. So it's tough pill to swallow, I feel like, for them, as it's just Easter, I think, straight up outplaying them at the moment.
Flat out. It's just we're in another world, and I hesitate to kind of precursor the entire second stage with this. We're built by gamers, run through the upper bracket to qualify. Look like they're playing some of the best Call of Duty that they've played in recent memory, and they show up first day and they get smacked. I mean, I don't remember that was actually the case in stage number 1, but they didn't obviously get many wins until it was too late. So what is it with Built by Gamers is kind of what my question is, because on paper, you felt like this was going to be a matchup that would be really close. Easter
Definitely.
Still trying to get things in tow, trying to figure things out. How can they enable John? And on the other side for Built by Gamers, they're coming through playing a really good collective 4-man piece of Call of Duty Cold War. And then we get complete opposite storylines where John is frying everything. Fellow is playing incredibly well, as they're one of the two tandem duos that have stuck together throughout this major roster mania period. And Built by Gamers, I hesitate to say they look lost, but they're getting beat up.
Yeah, they're getting beat up bad. That's definitely been the storyline here so far for us. But it is interesting, right? I kind of come back to my point after the very first map, where sometimes players just get themselves in towards a mode where they're like, listen, we're playing a long tournament today. Like, it's time to step up. It's time to go. And it's just such a different type of style that you're playing when you're prepping for just 2 series you're on the night. You can go in towards that with an idea of the maps that you want to play, and you can at least do some prep and some VOD review on towards your opponents that you're playing up against. Look to kind of find those weaknesses. That's not something you have available to you when you're playing in these tournaments. And I think that when we are looking at all of these guys, there was a lot of them that were pro at some point in time, right? A couple of players that also could be for the very first time when you're looking at the Gravities and you're looking at pentagrams and things like this. So there's a lot of talent for as far as what we have here. But I think when you're looking at the vets, you're looking at John, who was one of the best to do it at one point in time. We're looking at the Jetpack era, has himself a couple of rings. Like it definitely is a little bit of a concern for as far as what they're doing and how they're growing and improving so quickly and rapidly. I think that's really the big factor, because you hit on it during the search and destroy. Like, this does not look like the same Easter squad that we were casting over during the qualifier, but they have just completely turned things around very quickly.
And I think beyond that, the other kind of conversation narrative that we were talking about during the league qualifiers was how much of a requirement it was for players like John to make this stage specifically.
Exactly.
And be in a point to now where he's not just trying to get back into the swing of things. Now he's, coming off the on-deck circle, playing up against some of the best in North American challengers right now. And is that going to be where his foundation is to try to get back to the pro league? And so far, you can't deny that John has been playing tremendously well through these first 2 maps. Now, with that in mind, we've got 3 instances of raid if we need to go all the way to 5. So that will mean that Control coming up next will be the start of that spree of raid. And I'm curious, I think, again, to see if Easter can come out polished on a Control game type, that they are the newer put together roster when it comes down to trying to synergize how they're going to play this. And they will be on the defense first. Gravity from the money window able to help out Jerd, who was stuck taking orders behind the tiki bar. And then John hits a flank. That's, my goodness, the read, perfect. The execution, even better. If you can even get better than perfect, which Fellow almost makes me believe.
And you got yourself a great situation with a couple players already off to this hot start. I mean, 3-0 for Gravity could even work for some early streaks if you can keep things going with that QBZ. GodRx, he does find a little breathing room over by this B side, and if someone can pick up his open stairs, he will be good to collect this time. At Gravity finds himself 4, and look at the patience here. John's also pinching the point. They're going to be able to shoot him at the same time. Excellent coming through. They defend the zone, and that tick also does not come through. And if you're BBG, I mean, where do you go? Like, it feels like you have no map pressure at the moment.
Well, they do have the ability to work through the middle of the map, at least for a time, as Kismet comes down the open stairs to find a kill, but the trades are beautiful. 4-1 for Gravity, 4-1 for John. Jurd's already pushed up into the garage. He's not just threatening spawn traps, he's essentially shaking hands on people who come up with how far pushed forward he is. John now on 3s. He's got a couple different weapons to play with, depending on the situation. But meanwhile, as the spawns are built by gamers get them onto the A zone, they will find 2 ticks of progress. It just comes down to the decision between Jurd and Fellow. Do they want to challenge us? Apparently the answer is yes. Jurd answers in for 1, but Fellow from behind never got things going. That'll add 60 seconds to the clock, and it gives Built by Gamers more of a conversation of how do they want to make this offense happen.
The big factor is that Easter don't actually get anyone towards the top. They have to force these engagements here right from the bottom, and you do have one gunfight that ends up coming through, but now it's up to Fellow. What can he do as he is the last one all alone? Little finesse there on towards GodRx. Finds 2, almost jumps there for Pentagram, but finally a trade is going to come in, but you still haven't exactly been able to move past this open stairs kind of zone. And you're also looking at the lives. You're down by 5. There's about a minute left on the clock, and now you're forced to start making some alternative routes. But Fellow, he's already picking those up here.
And you just don't have the lives to try to play this little finesse game for Built by Gamers. Yeah, you want to put yourself in the middle of the map to try to help this push be a little bit more open, but you've got to send a lot of your focus over towards this zone in specific. 3 life differential, long flank from number 8 of Fellow on the back, but it's going to be red. GodRx is going to be here to try to resist against it, but is unsuccessful. So now Easter's retake. It's going to be coming from multiple angles, but the kills from BBG on top of the point itself are actually nice. Pander's going to stay alive, get a little bit of regen.
Okay.
Fellow's going to contest outside Tiki. He falls. Pentagram for 2. Second tick of progress is here. 5 lives, but that will not be at all what comes down to the win condition. Is Built by Gamers stack, and somehow, some way, in the face of what looked to be a great Easter defense, well, it turns up in all in favor of BBG.
That's pretty wild. I mean, there was, a point in time where they were up by 6 lives, and that was just about the point where this A zone did get captured. It was looking just, so bad for them at the start of this game, where they had 30 seconds left to try and make a move. They're down in lives to force them to make a play. They finally get some kind of an opening by that A site to get the extra 60 seconds. But the fact that they just move in there and win all those gunfights and stack the zone, I mean, we see it all the time, right? You're able to get a full wipe that comes through. You stack that zone, and that progress bar absolutely flies. So BPG actually getting themselves back in towards the series, potentially just getting themselves a first round is got to be a feel-good moment.
Oh, for sure. I'm telling you, the first 45 seconds of that defense for Easter were literally some of the more perfect rotations we've seen defensively. So the fact that they're able to find one zone, let alone the round, is nothing short of incredulous. GodRx now pushing forward for the Built by Gamers defense, and maybe that is what it is. They fall 0-2, and they certainly kind of get activated, because now Kismet's on 6, has earned himself 1 streak, but could not get away in time to earn the cruise missile. But resources and tools starting to really surmount themselves here for BBG, but off the respawn, Easter headed towards the B zone, and they're here with numbers.
Yeah, they are here with numbers. I mean, you can see player 1 back there, Pander. He's already calling out the information that they have to flood B. They have to flood B, but they do manage to get a tick by B. Pentagram finding the head of Jurd. Won't let him to continue to try and capture some of that progress there. John trying to hold his life inside of basketball. Kismet here on the push. Won't be able to find John. John playing a massive role, playing his life, but his teammates are still being cut down, so he doesn't have the support and has to kind of hop on the C zone by himself.
Oh, Pentagram in the back has been like split spawning Easter just by kind of going back and forth around the garage. There was a time there where a couple members for Easter went mid, couple went over towards A, nobody really came over to re-help over towards B, and finally they're able to kind of stabilize themselves, get 1 tick of progress at A. Numbers will stack, and take a look at BBG defensively. What's the call? It will not be to go for a retake. Instead, it's going to be trying to zone for exit. The artillery strike comes down, so wait a second. Maybe they are trying to commit for this. Second tick is gone, 3rd on the way, and oh, that's a heavy investment for BBG trying to play for a retake in which they never really even see the control point after the strike came down.
Oh, but this is actually pretty big for them. I mean, they find GodRx as well, and that was just player 2, Pentagram, who has to play his life, but he is going to be traded out. So you can do the exact same thing here if you're Easter. You could look to stack, and they're going to get 3 members on it. What can Pander do? He finds himself a kill, gets the head of Jerd. Now it's going to be the pinch as well, coming through the middle of the map from Kismet. They just need to find the kills, and they will do so successfully just before that last tick of progress comes through here for them. So they'll be able to stabilize, and they're up by 3 lives.
You got a lot of time here if you're Easter. I would love to see them kind of stay controlled, play as a collective, try to work for some map control just by playing trades, little bait and switches. But the first 2 members on this approach have died individualistically all over the map. So now it's actually going to force Easter to stack and try to play, but it's going to be 1 player from behind in Kismet. He finds 2 before falling. Pander cleaning up the open stairs, and it just comes down to the final 4 lives for Easter, but still, there is plenty of time. Unless you just die completely off the rip, which it looks like they mostly have.
Yeah, Jordan, the last one up. 1v8. Good luck, brother. That's about all you can really say in these moments.
Plus RNG.
Could maybe find GodRx in from behind, but nope. QBZ. Too good. Too good, Alan. Built by gamers. They're coming out to play, and Control looking pretty solid so far, as they just need 1 more to get themselves that very first map on the board in the series.
It's a difficult decision to make, I feel like, because you have the 2 ticks of progress already at B, and there's a minute 20 in the clock where you're down 3 lives with, I think, like a respawn per member still available. I would have loved to have seen Easter just immediately hit the brakes and say, okay, let's clear some space out. Let's go take art. Successful. Cool. Let's take back pillars. Great. Awesome. Let's get in the middle of the map. Sweet. Now we can start to actually posture for where could this BBG defense be? Because with that amount of time, you don't just want to have to full flood at something. You want to be able to kind of diligently get yourself a setup and make sure it's an efficient one because, like mentioned, you only have 1 respawn per player remaining. Gravity, John, trying to work themselves over the middle of the map. It'll exchange evenly, and we will kind of get a tilt of the map, positionally at least, in favor of our pink team at BBG, as they're already making their way over through the middle and into the money window.
Pentagram Snade is going to be able to clear out Fellow, so a chance there to be able to get on towards A, while GodRx is still applying some kind of presence over by this B zone. And now Pentagram with the QBZ has to try and find value. He loses his teammates. 3 go down. They're going to be able to defend A. Last one up there was going to be Kismet to see if he might have been able to make a solo play, but he is denied. So back to step 1. John already making the correct rotation, trying to cut off the push, coming through in towards the B zone.
This is good for Easter for the moment, but you got to win these next individual gunfights, and of which... Okay, there you go. I was about to say, John would have to pick up the pieces of Jerd, who fell just over the middle of the map. Oh, Semtex over the top nearly lands. But John will regen and then put his attention towards mid-zig and the open staircase. Timing. Oh, my goodness, John, 5 in a row. Looking for number 6 down low, but that opportunity has been missed. And Lassie smokes GodRx off the jacuzzi. Something over there is bubbling. Maybe the blood is boiling for a little bit because that is a gunfight that John really had no business winning. But even still, with that said, Built by Gamers are on the zone and not just stalling the clock. Pentagram is working for a second tick of progress.
Yeah, every kill Pentagram gets, the better. I mean, they're working towards A, right? That's the zone that they want to capture to get an extra minute. So Pentagram is going to be able to draw about 3 members over here. You still have someone in towards the middle of the map, which was Pentagram off the spawn. So they're not going to be able to hold on towards map control, but you do have a minute 25 now to work with heading in towards the zone where there's about 11 to 14 lives in favor of Easter. Panda able to also find Fellow, just cleaning up a few of these players in towards the map here, setting up for the push that is going to come towards B. And they already have a tick and a half of progress, so they just need 1 full wipe, another stack here, and they're good to 3-0 Easter in this map number 3.
Got to get through Jerd first, and he is playing top bedroom. I don't think Built by Gamers recognize the potential threat, so they go in 1 by 1, and Jerd makes them punished. Big penalization there, as Built by Gamers will essentially have to forfeit that angle of approach. You see the members in pink, they're starting to streak across the map. Gravity reads this. He's got great help from John in front of Kitchen, and oh boy. This is all of a sudden starting to get very favorable for Easter. Just 5 lives remaining for Built by Gamers, but they are trying to work their way out of spawn together.
It's just so difficult at this point in time because now you're fighting from all the power positions that you usually have to give a life up in order to trade, and they can't afford to do that anymore. 4-9. Gravity gonna do the correct play and back up, but he doesn't actually get there fast enough. So Panda catching him on the play. You have to go quick if you're built by gamers, and you got to win just about every single gunfight. They'll lose one, so now just 3 lives. Panda spots out Gravity. They might just look for a stack as Jerd comes in for the pinch. GodRx is gonna go down as he finds Fellow, but Panda still trying to play his life. A 2v5 situation. Pentagram last one up with the sub. Maybe looking for the double kill, but Jerd, he denies them. Easter not going to let a 3-0 happen here in towards this game just yet, Alan. We're going to round number 4.
There's just been so many great moments, I think, in this control where you can look at Built by Gamers and say, you know, if you were just to like take the temperature of a current situation, like screenshot it, what's going on, you'd be like, oh, dude, there's no way PBG come away with this round. And somehow they still were able to put together some really incredible moments, and that does still include this offense in which they were down underneath 30 seconds. You had members at A, members at B. All the kills were turning up in their favor, and they reduce a pretty steep deficit, not just off the clock, but also in the lives, giving them a real look at maybe getting for that 3-0. But it will not happen here. Not today. Easter still staying in this. And John is 28 and 21. 10 objective plays only, but still, the fact of the matter is he's +7 in a control. And, well, that might be more to come as him and Jerd are starting to work their way over towards A initially. It'll be Jerd who wins this day, though, as he gets a couple. Pander tried to consider the contest, does find one. GodRx pinching from the middle has Jerd in a sticky situation, but apparently he's been WD-40'd as he's squeaky clean and gets away and takes the gunfight versus GodRx. Man, one more shot, he maybe gets that elimination, but Built by Gamers have reclaimed the A zone.
This is the first time we've actually seen a dedicated hit off the start over towards A, which is what we typically see on a map like this, where you want to get that that favorite zone rather and get the extra minute up as fast as possible. But because of that translates over towards B pressure, and they're also going to be able to get 3 down here. Kismet, the last one up as his teammates are spawning right behind Laundry. A chance to be able to work for a tick at least. Kismet needs to play his life. Little nade goes down, gets some information on where they're coming out, and while some nades come back in return, his teammates are still dropping like flies. So Kismet's forced to kind of sit inside of basketball. He can't make a play, and still his teammates are here, and now they're going to make the play onto him. So a massive move for Easter. Pentagram now the last one to try and make something happen as that second tick is secured.
Then over towards the opposite zone, there was some pressure already being established for Easter. They really are pushing the envelope, aren't they? They're putting focus on so many zones at the same time. There are moments where it feels like Built by Gamers are needing to panic and kind of focus up and collectively decide what they want to do very quickly. And this time they do recover that A zone, and they've got a couple members that could still play through. Oh my goodness, Gravity! Oh, Pentagram had the first 4-5 shots in, still loses the gunfight. And so now all of a sudden, Easter have members in the middle of the map. They're starting to surround this A zone, and Built by Gamers, they need someone to really show up right now, and maybe it's time for Kismet. He will get 1 kill through Art, push through, and again, try to make sure that the Easter reinforcements are stalled for as long as possible.
11 lives to 16 with 1:24 on the clock. Easter have been making some great plays, but getting in towards this A zone can be difficult. Once you find the kills inside of Art, it'll loosen up a lot more of the map, so you can start to push through dividers and maybe find a couple of entryways in towards that A zone at the moment. John, who is on 7, has the streaks, and he might be waiting to use or go for a pinch here, but Pander trying to sniff it out, does find him. And with a minute left to play, getting lower and lower on lives, she might be forced to use the streaks at some point or another. That is a big kill on Pentagram to now try and push forward with the numbers.
We'll see what happens on this flank here. If Kismet can even get a kill, it'd be all right. Well, I'll say, brother, don't flirt with this too much. John is going to pull out the cruise missile. Tries to get it into Laundry. Will not connect. The play from behind has also been shut down. Long-range shots. John, goodness. Barely misses a single shot. He's 36 and 23. Pander trying to hold his life over through pillars. GodRx also a part of this play. He gets one, not going to find a second, but the reinforcements for BBG are here. 7 plays up against 6. 25 seconds to go, and kill for kill will not be good enough for Easter with not a lot of time remaining.
Yeah, you might have to invest in towards the second streak, right? If you don't get towards the zone here 5-on-5, then you are not sending it to the round number 5. John does use it as they're going to get a bit of information. Fellow finds a kill. Now a 3 versus 4. GodRx will be taken down in the power position. They're going to stall the clock out. And now from the middle of the map, it's going to be Pander. He goes down. It's John. It's just the John show in general. The last one left alive is Pentagram.
Dude.
They wait to go for the team shots at Easter. They are bringing it back, and we're going to round 5.
I mean, you're telling me that it's going to be 7-7 in lives, underneath 20 seconds to play. BBG is able to force kill for kill trades, and then the only way that the offense even has a look to see that A zone is if someone pops off and John says, hold my beer. I mean, like, unbelievable. That's the only reason that Easter even see. And now apparently the stonks of Cadbury eggs and Peeps marshmallow puffs are going through the roof because Easter is here early.
They're here, Alan. They're here. They're going up.
Good box of Peeps, all right, Visions?
Oh boy, John again just starting off hot. Fellow with the response. They're going to attack A, and that is the first tick. And you might already be looking at trying to get set up for the next one because they are just dropping like flies. 3 go down. Last one here is Pentagram, and well, John finds him. Of course, John finds him. 41, 5 in a row as well. And if he gets here for the progress, this could be even closer towards another set of streaks moving in towards this next zone with 2 minutes and 18 seconds to play with.
I mean, bro. I mean,
yeah.
What do you say? Like, I'm not fabricating this when we talk about the fact that when John first came back in and started playing, everyone was very excited. And I'm not going to sit there and say he did not captivate us on his first performance, but there is definitely a lot of learning that had to happen. Maybe it was the collection of players he was playing with. Maybe it was just the understanding of the game. But this dude, I know the motto for Built by Gamers is built different. No, apparently John says that's my motto. 42 and 26. Put a leash on him.
Oh, it's becoming a problem, but they are struggling to get out of their spawn at the moment. So as much as John has been popping off, he might have to here again as Gravity finds that first one. Trade there for Kismet. John there for the second trade. So at least they're able to move out here on the map, but Pander locking things down, manages to find 3 there in that exchange. And that puts him actually on 4 in a row at the moment. So a big play there from Pander to be able to keep them pushed back in towards the spawn, not giving them too much room to work with, making the way over towards this B zone. And they haven't made any progress, and they're still struggling to get past this 50-yard line here towards this next objective.
And Pander, if he could not just lock this lane down, but be enabled to... Never mind. So he finds streaks, that's nail and coffin most likely. But Gravity across the map finds the kill. Jerd, oh my. Gets the headshot through, no problem there. Also plays his life very wisely. Almost gets the look at GodRx, but Built by Gamers. 7 life lead. They've killed off so much of this clock, and Easter hasn't really even seen the B zone yet. Kismet wants to make sure that's the case by pushing forward near Garage. Finds himself on a 4 spree. Trying to farm off spawn as well to see if he can find maybe streaks as well. Not going to come through. Does find the 5th. Looking for a 40 bomb of his own, or need 30 seconds to play, and Easter feels very much so trapped right now.
They do. It has to be this push here. And well, they do manage to find 2. So not over, but only 5 lives. You need these kills to come in, and Pander, he manages to find Gravity. Jerd on this pinch needs to find value. Snaps for 1, plays his life for a second, goes for Kismet. Does get himself on the zone, but still just only 1 player left alive. It's going to be up to Gravity here with the AR. Pentagram, he's going to wait patiently. Built by Gamers. Looking like they might have let this one go, but in the end, they clutch up in the round 5, and we will see another hard point.
I mean, it's just one of those things that those first 2 rounds, BBG are the ones that are still in the spotlight. They're like, look, we're in an awkward position. I'm not going to say a terrible one or a bad one, but we're in a trying position, and they make the correct decisions, make the correct plays, and they come out on top 2-0 up. And then all of a sudden, things just completely start, I won't say to break down because that phrase is becoming a bit overwhelmingly used, but it's starting to get to a point where BBG are struggling to contain a couple of individual members from Easter, and allows them a chance to potentially set up a little mini reverse sweep here inside this map number 3. And outside of that final spawn trap, you thought maybe was going to happen because John was threatening 50 kills in a control, for crying out loud.
I mean, frustrated for John, I have to imagine, right? Like, it's probably where you want to close things out. You know, BBG has a habit of bringing things back after being 0-2 down, or at least getting into the map 5 here. And now they have the opportunity to do it. So this is definitely, you know, a bit of a problem going in towards what will be the rest of the series here for them. But I mean, yeah, it's kind of almost unacceptable when your submachine gun player of all roles on that team is dropping that amount of kills, that amount of eliminations, and you guys are still struggling, it feels like, and had a slow start. Your ARs need to do kind of a lot of what they were doing in that very first map that we saw there in Moscow, but it wasn't exactly coming together here for us. So John did everything he could, Alan. He did what he could, but now he's gonna have to try to do that all over again going in towards what will be a raid hardboard coming up.
Couple of updates across all the other matches that are going on right now on the mainstream. You could see it underneath Visions right there at COD Challengers YouTube. New York Subtitles Academy find themselves down 1-2 and what seems to be a very hotly contested match versus Sib's new squad of the Fantastic Four. So definitely make sure you've got 2 tabs open to check in on that. UT Crew has found at least a 1-0 lead in narrow form over the top of Aerial Arise thus far, and then Higher and Wester have gone map for map as well. So a 1-1 tie-up there. Those last 2 matches that I just mentioned are happening off stream, unfortunately. But I'll try to give you guys the updates as we possibly can. Now, for this matchup specifically with our best of 5, that's one of what could potentially be 3 straight raids. Control off the table. Next up will still be raid for hardpoint number 2. And then again, if we also need it for map number 5, it would be there for our second search and destroy.
It would in fact be, and this is where they come alive, Alan. This is where we always see them do it, but I still feel like they're playing up, against quite the beast here for as far as what we have gotten out of these guys. So I'm not by any means saying that they're going to be able to do it, but Easter are in a capable spot to close this one out with the way they played that very first hard point. I think that was really one of the big takeaways. Sure, different map, Moscow, a lot more on the rotations, and a little bit different from how Raid plays, except for maybe kind of the kitchen to garage hard point. But overall, coming in towards this one, they did look really clean, and it was mainly because of the ARs collecting a lot of that time while also locking things down here. So I think that's going to have to be the true match. And I think GodRX was also playing pretty well himself in towards that last game, and did play pretty well in towards that map number 1. So you can look at that for as far as a takeaway that could play a little bit of a factor going in towards it. But you have to be able to match the pressure. I think that's really the biggest thing that I'm talking about. And you can't allow someone like John to go off in something like Hardpoint that's going to be a lot more impactful when you're finding 2 and 3 kills, right? Multi-kills are going to play a massive factor in Hardpoint in general, no matter what map you're playing on. So you have to also eliminate that from being a possibility. And if so, then we can maybe get ourselves towards the map 5 here still.
Indeed. So we are loading on up. This can be raid, as you mentioned, for the hard point. And, one of the big problems that we kind of mentioned from Moscow was BBG really having a tough time kind of working into positions where they can get set up. And Moscow can be pretty punishing when it comes to, okay, we missed this timing, and wouldn't you know it, we're spawning on the other side of the map. The same could still occur here, though. So I'm largely looking for Built by Gamers to try to work a little bit more through that middle of the map, commit to try to make sure that we've got that mid kind of courtyard underneath our control largely as we start to go from kitchen to garage and then garage to basketball specifically. And that's a hell of a start. QBZ City as Gravity doubles up. Fellow also a part of that for team shots. They find 3 of the first 4. And that leads to Easter onto the time first for about 10 seconds worth.
We'll have to try and break this. Everyone pretty much in the positions you'd want them to be. Gravity just waiting for his teammate to shoot over him. Pander waiting for the peak. Does convert, but good trade there for Fellow. Does Fellow get 2? It's John with the help, and they're able to clear just about everyone out. But look at this pitch in from behind. It's going to be player 6, Kismet. Finds himself Gravity, looking to also get the second. There will be a teammate, but that's fine because they get them off the hill. But the problem is you do, in fact, lose the spawn. So Easter can just look to hold on towards launching control here and also set up for the next hill.
But it's being bought up. And this is, I think, just a showcase of Easter they don't want to concede anything. They will challenge everything they feel is within the realm of possibility. And now Fellow 6 in 1. Dude, look, Fellow has always been a great player, but we haven't seen him play like this pretty much all year long. He is unreal with this QBZ.
Well, yeah, he's usually a sub player, right? Like when we look back to, what he was doing with Submachine Gun, it's his cracked movement up close that has always been, I think, one of the big factors. But I mean, when you get him in towards this flex roll, he looks incredible. So there's been some strong openings from Fellow, but you are still in a good position for BBG. As you look at the map, they have control of the hill. So just a matter of can they actually hold on to the 30 seconds as the push comes through the front. Kismet there for the kill, but Jerd for 2. Can't find the third. Now just a 1v1 in the hill, and Pander, he finds the double up inside of kitchen, which might just be good for the remaining 15 seconds.
Look at Gravity, even challenging the exits. Now, the only bit of unfortunate about this is the fact that Pentagram has worked his way into Gym for what was 2 straight kills, making life difficult for Easter on this rotation, leaving Fellow now by himself. He will be touched down by Kismet from behind. So the numbers for Built by Gamers do very well to exist through the scrap time battle for the second hard point. And then beyond that, because of the kills that came through for Pentagram, it allows an opportunity for them to easily rotate over towards our garage hard point. And GodRX watching by the fountains. Not going to get the better of Jerd. Difficult gunfight to be sure. And so it's going to be on the Pander to make sure that the generator and AC stays safe. And he absolutely will. Built by Gamers. Very strong setup here for the first 30 seconds.
Very strong. And it's just going to be them in control now, where you have to try and break in towards this hill. You want to give it one last good attempt, which is exactly what they're attempting to do. But Gravity here needs to try and go big against GodRx after finding himself 2. Can't find the 3rd. John should be there for the trade, and he is. So scrap time will be rewarded over towards Easter, which will allow them to take the lead back. But it's Jurt on the rotation. See if he can try and break the next setup.
Will be cut down, so the initial attempt will be, for now, stalled out. But Easter recognizing that, okay, we've got Fellow playing over through Kitchen. He's going to find Kismet twice in a span of about 15 seconds. Gravity trying to play for the trade. Pentagram falls. That will lead towards block spawns. Easter now with the opportunity to start to reinforce, but the timing of the kills actually allows Built by Gamers to spawn once more in. So very interesting interaction when it comes to the timing of the kills versus where the position on the map was. And that means that Built by Gamers will, because of that battle for spawns, soak up 30 seconds for free on basketball. Easter still working around the back.
Oh, but this last 30 seconds could also be pretty big if they can secure the kills. Pentagram playing his life, able to find that first one, and Kismet also comes in for the flank as Pentagram finds 2, just in case he didn't. They were there for the support. Built by Gamers turning up for us inside of this hard point right now, but John also answering back with 2 in a row, as this is a hill where you feel like you need to try and get yourself at least a bit of those points back on the board going in towards the resets. And they do have a great zoning currently happening inside of Kitchen and Zig, and as well as open stairs. Just a matter of how long can they actually hold on to this.
And I think the big challenge for me is how many numbers are Built by Gamers going to try to use to take care of Gravity. You need to do more than just one, I'll tell you that much. He wins the 1v1 outside by the raid statue, which means that that high ground will be in control. And John snaps onto Pentagram from behind. GodRx in a bit of trouble, has to go to the pistol, which is good enough for the kill. But John says, how about this, as he mantles over John Wick style for a hip-fire kill. And that means that Easter, once more, not only are they in control of the positions that are required for a solid setup, they've already soaked up 30 seconds, and back and forth we go in this hard point.
Oh, big 30 seconds here for themselves. Built by Cameras, I mean, they have the lead, so this would be even bigger for them to have a lead going in towards the resets. Gravity playing his life over there by Ring will be cut down from the side of Pentagram. And now with 15 seconds left, looks like Easter simply looking to try and chalk that time, get themselves in towards New. They have great zoning by Laundry and Kitchen, so this is going to be at least a much better position for them. But I think the problem has been actually trying to hold on towards these setups, just like they did on P5. It got broken easily, and now GodRx right to the middle of the map. He finds John, and no trade has come through yet. Maybe even a second for GodRx here. Will convert for it as the trade comes in, but that's fine. Built by Gamers, they get the first touch again.
Yeah, this is just one of those things that it's both teams are really executing and capitalizing, I think is the word I'm mostly looking for, on the moments where they absolutely need to be. Now for all of a sudden, Built by Gamers, with this middle map pressure, they have zoned out this first hard point like almost nothing we've seen before. John is now by himself. He will be isolated, and Built by Gamers, they are now enjoying about an 80-point lead. Easter, we talked about how they don't like to concede too much. They're going to likely chalk the majority of the scrap time in favor of playing for the rotation around the back, in which they've not blocked spawns yet. So Built by Gamers, if they can respond to this hit through the back, this could potentially be the game.
Jared finds that first one, gets rid of a trophy as well, and yeah, spawns do come through there on the ramp since the old hill is still active. There's enough of a presence back here to be blocking. And, well, John doesn't want to take that challenge. Instead, he meets a couple players in towards the middle of the map. Pander deals with him appropriately. And now here comes the actual break attempt. Built by Gamers. They find the second right in towards the kitchen hill. They make it look easy, Allen. First attempt is good. They break the setup. They control the spawns. And now they can fan out here and create some zoning.
Yeah, this is what I think a lot of people would have been worried about, you know, with that Easter play conceding 20 seconds worth of time in favor of playing for spawns. If that play is not successful, you're going to find yourself down near 100 points with not a lot of time to make up the gap. And that is currently what is unfolding for us, although there is a break for this scrap time. This is 20 seconds that Fellow needs to make sure they're locked in for Easter. And he will be challenged on Old while Gravity goes over towards New. One of the first battles will be unsuccessful. Gravity gets a read on GodRx. Also responds to Pander. Now he's going to have a little bit of help from Jerd. Can he find the 1v2, though? This is big initial time that Easter is required to get if they want to have a chance even saying the word comeback.
Yeah, Gravity and Jerd actually do kind of keep their hopes alive there at the moment, and now John comes in and cleans up Kismet, so they are going to be able to at least salvage this play, still get inside of the hard point, but Pander also making his move, won't be allowed to get anything happening in his favor. Gravity realizing there might just be one more player here as Kismet finds himself a route. Gunfight onto Jerd, it's good. Looking for the pinch here from GodRx at the exact same time. Kismet will find the kill, takes himself down, but that's fine because Adam, he's got himself inside of the hill, and now it's Gravity, the farthest one pushed up, forced to make a play. He is shut down, built by gamers that might be setting us to a map 5.
It's looking likely. Jerd over the top, able to clear things up, keeping the life for now in play for Easter, but they would have to have a flawless P4 and do some damage on the workaround to get to the 5th hard point to even, again, get the permissions to say the word comeback right now. But they are threatening in a pretty solid spot overall. Pander's trophy system will be denied, and now he's going to be trusted to bring some work happen with the QBZ. Good for 1, not a second. Gravity trying to wait for help, but there is no help to come through. 245 is where it'll be. No one's going to be able to get there and truly contest this unless this pinch from both sides is successful. Sliding in at the last second is Jerd, and Fellow from behind was good, but the kill comes in, and that awards BBG the final second, apparently. Kind of tough to see that one in action. Have to do it in like quarter speed, but 250-158 is where the score will be, and Built by Gamers, they're going to set us to a map 5 for where the reverse sweep could come into play.
What did I say, Alan? 0-2 power spike,
apparently,
baby.
dude.
it just happens like so often that you can't not talk about it, right? It just seems to be a factor throughout the last elite, and there's a point where they're able to at least get it here, but it's not necessarily confirmed that they always close it out. And I mean, to be also fair, we did see in that map number 1, right? There was a pretty big blowout. It was 250-93. They made those adjustments in towards this hard point. They also did get blown out a little bit in towards the search and destroy, 62 in Miami. So if they're following this trend, and they're also going to be able to maybe make some of those changes and adaptations going in towards the second map. And I mean, another point could be where maybe Miami, wasn't their pick, and now Raid is. So this could be a chance for them to still pull off this reverse sweep here for themselves and really get a massive upset, because it felt like Easter was just playing on top of the world. The first 2 maps were like, whoa, like these guys are playing really good, really clean. And now it's like BBG, they're right back in this, and this one's going to determine it all, of course.
And the thing about it, I'm just trying to think back. The Moscow first rotation, yeah, it was still in favor of Easter, but by maybe 20 points. It was pretty heavily contested. And then the second rotation just wasn't. Even the Miami Search and Destroy, there were moments where BBG were doing well to recover and adapt to what they were being thrown by Easter, but it just felt like they were always playing a reactionary game. We did not get that in the raid control. They played very proactively in the first 2 rounds, including also the 5th one where they closed that map out. And then all the way throughout that raid hardpoint, it felt like they were the ones making the proactive decisions as far as how do we want to set up our tempo and our pace, and how are we going to make sure that it's them responding to us more than the other way around. And some of that does come with, and this is one of those things that I'll say for anyone out there that is like trying to play through challengers, or maybe you're playing through some OLT leagues out there. It's not just, hey, we have to challenge everything to set our tone. No, you could be okay making the decision of let's give up 20 seconds of scrap time to play for the next 45 and just kind of get to a place where that's what we're going to try to build. And that is still proactive, even though you are allowing things to be conceded. And that's kind of what we saw moments of there for Built by Gamers in that 4th map specifically. So I would be interested to see, what do they have in the mix for Raid, Search, and Destroy? Now, remember, one of the big things about this team back in the first split was they neglected the middle of the map at a very, very heavy cost. That was adjusted and changed late into season number 1 of Challengers Elite. For my money, I would love to see them continue to put pressure on the middle of the map here in this map 5 if they want to have a chance at beating Easter.
And I mean, we know that this Easter squad is likely going to be doing this, right? With players like John and Jerd. Like, I mean, both of those players, doesn't matter who the other 2 are and who your ARs are, like that just screams aggression. And we're looking to take some map control. And if you want to fight us for it, well, be ready to go to war, because they're going to go for it, round after round after round. That's something we've seen from these individuals from, a very long time, watching through the last qualifier and even watching through the last elite, of course, with Jerd as well. So that's going to have to be highly contested here for BBG if they're looking for the control as you're talking about here, Alan. It's just a matter of, do they want to take those challenges? So it should be interesting to see, what the prep and what the idea is coming in, because this is one of the maps that we do have in the rotation where both bomb sites are very viable. We've had some teams that are willing to be able to kind of just say, listen, I just want to hit this A site, just like we saw it back in the day where it's like, let's get launching control, get the bomb down. It's so difficult to retake. And I think a big part of this map now is actually the pressure on the defense to say, all right, how are we looking to actually get these retakes happening, whether it's through Pool House or whether it's through the laundry and ring control, right? Because it has been extremely difficult at times to be able to try and retake from your spawn when you're on the defensive end and you're trying to push through jungle and the back of kitchen and battle out against all these power positions where you don't necessarily know where everyone is. And it's sometimes it gets, very hairy. It gets very difficult from time to time here. So I think that's what I'm going to be looking at here to see what the adjustments will be for as far as how they're getting back in towards these sites here when the bombs do end up going down.
All right. Well, we got that kind of framed up. Looks like our map is about to start. A couple of updates, though. The Fantastic Four have defeated the New York Subliners Academy 3-1 on the main stream.
Right.
Wester currently find themselves up 2-1 over Higher at the moment, and still nothing else to report from UT Crew and Aerial Arise. With the only exception being, I saw on Twitter for a second that apparently UT Crew was down like 100 to 180. They had to play 3v4 and won. 250-229.
Like a player dropped?
I think so.
No.
I didn't get a chance to look at it too much. I saw Easy Mag post it, so I think he's the one who's watching over that match to record stats. So if that's the case, my God, 169 to 200, 3v4. They clutched up to win 250-229 or something like that. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that is filthy. But towards this one, we wanted to see some of the middle map being controlled right now. It is just Kismet there. It doesn't have a whole lot of support, but GodRx, you should have some information for sure as that Semtex comes in. Fellow gives him a little shoulder, gets the information, doesn't need to take the full challenge because the bomb is being planted, and John is able to win another one onto Kismet. So this would have to be a 2v4 retake here for BBG.
Huh. I just love the lurk play there from John. He's not a part of the hit towards A whatsoever, and he doesn't need to be. Like, 3 players is largely going to be enough. So he plays the long side of the flank, which means that this retake that you were so keen to kind of see how it would happen for both of our teams never gets off the ground because the retake was trying to come through middle or around the back and the flank, and John shut down 2 of the 3 players that were making that attempt. As would figure, the 3v1 successful for the team with 3, and Easter take their first offense. But it's this play here. This is John just lurking, going rogue, making sure nothing happens around the back, and that immediately eliminates any hope for a retake outside of having to play from the front.
First round will be good. Easter coming back with a lot of their S&D success there from Miami, bringing it in towards their first offense. But now Built by Gamers, they're also on the attack. I know they're famous for hitting B. They love getting themselves in towards the mix here, getting to ring as fast as possible, hit out Laundry. That's exactly what the plan looks to be here off the bat, as Pentagram will be the first one through. Jared also working through the middle, and Pentagram actually won that. And there's now no one in the back of the spawn. So this should be a free play, just a matter of do they realize it.
And from the Easter, they're going to have to play for a retake here. It just comes down to will you do it from behind, through the middle, or from the front? And they're trying to challenge this sooner rather than later. Pentagram, shoulders, find some information. But meanwhile, Fellow on the flank has found an opening. So now there's a bit of a surround going on. The bomb has never even been attempted to be planted yet. It comes down to Kismet versus Fellow. Bomb is not in hand for Kismet either. So technical advantage here for Fellow based off the position over the top of the bomb.
He's got an AR, so Kismet, he's going to take a longer route. Wants to throw Fellow off, because when you waste this much time, Fellow's now like, okay, is he wrapping mid? Is he just slow playing me back of Laundry? Is he coming all the way around through his spawn? I mean, no way he predicts this, right? I mean, Kismet, he might just run right through. Oh, the timing here. You might have heard him pick up ammo by the way that Fellow looks there, so thinks he's maybe close by, but there is still potential for a plan, and Kismet does pick up the bomb.
Fellow knows it's going to come over to B. Oh, this little pillar. Nice little distraction, but Fellow patiently awaits for the exit. Yeah, really good stuff from Fellow. Heads up play all the way through. Technically grabs him 4 straight kills as well. Plus the defuse. This dude's working on some potential streaks in the conversation.
And I think Fellow just, gets the heads up there from just running over the ammo. And it's from this gunfight here where he's able to win it up close. Just the beatdown battle comes through there for us, and Fellow ends up winning on it, and he just makes his fast play. Not a lot of players would just run through the middle of the map like this low, but because you have all the info on where they're set up, it just gives you the advantage to do so. So 2-0 up here. Built by Gamers, they need a response, and they need it in this round here, Alan, on the defense.
Yeah, you don't want to go down 3-0, and I think just in the style that Easter are currently playing, it just, again, it turns my attention, and I hate to keep bringing up the negative side of the coin here, but Built by Gamers are just kind of getting worked around on some of these plays from Easter. Now, granted, that first offense, it was just a heads-up play from the lurker of John. Defensively, though, for Easter. That's a round that I feel like Built by Gamers would have loved to have had back because their offense was really getting things going. Opening exchange is now favoring BBG through Laundry, but Fellow Gravity make it a 2v2, and Fellow's on 5. If you can find a kill to plant, that might be enough to get him a lightning strike, an artillery strike.
Basically a lightning strike. I wish it was faster like the lightning strike down. Fellow, he gets a clear opening to cut through the middle, and good shots there. Finds Kismet, and Godorex just wasn't with them, so there's no opportunity for a trade there onto Fellow as he's looking to drop this bomb. Gravity's got eyes on Godorex as well, and he's going to try and slip away. Doesn't want to take that engagement, but Fellow's going to back him up. Does he catch Godorex on the rotation? He does, and I think it's Gravity that finishes it off. Easter, they're playing flawless search and destroy at the moment.
But with the 2 objective plays plus the assist, is that enough for streaks, I wonder? Because he is just on 6, but...
Might be 1.
Yeah, it'd be close. If we have a chance to check in on Fellow real quick. No, apparently he has not earned it. Again, the same kind of UI bug when it comes to not giving us the full progress in between rounds, but it would show up if he had it, obviously. So still a kill away, and he will be trusted to take an individual mission defensively towards A, but he will have the help of John or Jerd, depending on what information he reads. Lots of damage into Pander, but no kills. Kismet shuts him down, no streaks, and that is a big sigh of relief for Built by Gamers, not only because the streaks are off, not only because of first blood, but they get the bomb planted with a very solid post-plant setup over towards the bedroom.
This is looking like the round they should win, but John keeps things a little bit spicy, finds one towards the middle of the map. You need Gravity to find one of these 2 players here. Both ARs just playing inside. You have a pinch from the middle of the map, and John just reads it a tad bit late. And there is the ARs just doing what they do best. The double chow comes through, and they clean up the kill. They'll finally drop around here round, and it comes up the back end of just opening up that site with the first blood, and also denying here the streaks from Fellow to give yourself a chance to still work back into the game.
And I love the fact for Built by Gamers on that offense, they get the read that Fellow was there, and they don't hesitate to wait for a secondary peek. They just push. Take the advantage, get the angle, get the bomb down. No nonsense, no funny business. This isn't a Jim Carrey film. I don't know why Jim Carrey just popped in my mind, but for some reason I was thinking of The Mask, because that movie's a lead.
It's a good movie. I know that one.
Oh, I was about to say, if you don't know The Mask, we're gonna have some fight missions.
I'm smiling right now. You can hear my smile.
I can hear your smile. Pentagram also smiling as he works around the back. Finds himself first blood, and that means that Easter is a bit stuck as Gravity's playing the other side of the open staircase, but with really just ARs and Jerd with the bomb, there's not a lot that they could do to kind of get together as a collective 3. So someone's going to have to find a kill, or they're going to have to commit to making a plant happen, and it looks like it's going to be the latter of those 2 options.
Oh, look at Gravity, though. I mean, he gets all the way through A, and I'm sure Pander's like, what the hell? I just died from the back, but the action still unfolds. And it is trades back and forth, and they know exactly where Gravity was because of this long play, and his teammates don't stay alive, and there's no way he's going to check this bomb in time. And this is just a heads-up play from Built by Gamers saying, listen, we're not going to give you time to finesse the clock. We're hopping on it. We're getting the defuse. Second round will be secured.
Wow. Okay. Extra life coming into play here again. Built by Gamers. I won't say those are 2 required rounds, but the longer you let the game go with a 2-round deficit, the less favorable you feel. So the fact that they've got an opportunity here to tie this game up and go a couple of rounds back to back to back would be great for the momentum. And this time, how about the play? 3-man fake towards B with aggression in the mix. It's going to force a lot of utility out from Easter, but defensively, they're holding pretty solidly, and a lot of that is due to the fact that Jerd finds a Semtex first blood. So Built by Gamers trying to feint towards B, find themselves now shorthanded and, well, just 60 seconds to go.
And the problem with doing this play, and especially getting blooded, is that you just no longer really have the ability to have the information in your favor where it's like, all right, where are they? You could maybe assume that there's at least one in the middle of the map, right? But you have to open up with a kill. And I mean, it's Kismet over here who has a sub. So it's not like he's going to be able to win that battle against Fellow the majority of the time. Fellow's going to give a little shoulder as well. So he gets info that there might just be a rotation, and will Gravity actually wallbangs Kismet there, will drop that bomb, and now it's a 2v3 situation.
Godorex can clear Jerd out of the middle of the map. There's an opportunity to have a realistic shot at this 2v2. But it's a difficult challenge to even consider, let alone commit to take. Pander, though, timing might be good. Does see Jerd over the top. He gets away. Those pillars were in the exact right position. Nice help from Godorex to make sure that fellow doesn't find anything. Godorex, oh my goodness, the 1v3 not gonna come through. The last 1v1 goes the way of Easter, and they put themselves back up by 2.
Oh man, this was scary for a moment, but Gravity, we just know how good he is in these situations. Takes that challenge, no hezzy, just ready for it, up close, and it looked like maybe a crazy play there for Godorex for a second, where he snaps the first 2, reads them beautifully, just can't land the shots there for the last one, and that also puts Gravity on 4 as well, right? So now you have another chance to be able to work for a couple of kills, maybe play for some streaks, and as it goes later and later, we know how valuable streaks are on raid. After fellow getting shut down, you'd love to have him back if you can get him. Just a matter of finding these kills, and with 4-2 built by gamers, they're also another spot out where you feel like you might need this round.
They do get first blood. That was the bomb carrier as well, so recovery will be required here from Easter. Built by gamers should be very aware that this hit is heavy-handed towards the B site. Everything levels out to a 3v3. Kismet trying to stay contest heavy over the top. Good shots on the Gravity, but can't take the secondary challenge to finish the kill. And you also have John, who's snuck by the player. Oh, awkward 1v1. Kismet, huge win. Never would have expected it. Pentagram on the backside will make this post-plant 2v3 very difficult for Easter. Just comes down to, can they win the kills? It will not happen. Beautiful flank play. Beautiful response from Kismet. And as he's on 3, he'll be awarded the defuse and bake this to a 4-3 tally going into round 8.
That entire play is certainly here from Kismet. Like, if John finds that kill and is able to maybe break in towards Kitchen, find a bit of an opening, it creates a lot more chaos because you can no longer just coordinate in unless Godorex gets that trade in from behind. So it would have been very chaotic, and with the way he was positioned, he might not have gotten to him. So big individual play for Kismet. We see the rest of it unfold where he just snaps towards Fellow, moves in for that defuse, and we're able to play the retake here beautifully after, going in with those initial trades there 3-on-3. It's not easy to retake this site, but built by gamers to do it in a clutch moment. And now 4-3 we go, Alan, tying things up potentially in towards round number 8 for us. Could be the play.
I mean, at a certain point here, Built by Gamers are going to be required to string together a couple of rounds in a row. It just comes down to how many will they be required to get, because you fall off 5-3, you're going to need to win, obviously, 3 in a row. But you're able to take this second round straight. You'd be able to tie things up and give yourself some room to work with. And Built by Gamers, again, aggressive, heavy-handed towards B. And, oh boy, Godorex. Oh, it's unfortunate. Semtex didn't quite get to where he wanted to. I was about to say, if he can find 1-for-1 here, it would make Easter's defense maybe a little bit weakened up, but no. The 2 players pushing through mid, retract, go right back to where they came from, and that will be enough for now a 4v2 situation in favor of Easter's defense.
Pentagram with the sub here. Say Harzal back here. No chance. No chance. And now Pander, well, he has an AR, but the push comes to him, so they read it. Easter able to find a couple of opening kills and give themselves enough of a numbers advantage to now put themselves on series point. One more round, that's all they need. They've been clean in the S&Ds, and now they just need to be clean for one more round.
Oh boy. Built by Gamers mentioned the O2 activation feels like it's a very real thing, but can they have the favor of getting 3 rounds in a row to pull off the reverse sweep? It's going to have to come down to a defense first and foremost. Good information off the utility, but it's Gravity who finds first blood onto Pentagram, who is just kind of lurking through the open stairs. Kismet information, tries for some wall bangs, has to be backed up. Now, there's no help at all here from Kismet. Godorex will try to get there in time, and he's only good for 1. It leaves Pander down to a 1v3 situation. He's picked correctly. He's going to be able to read this play over, but doesn't get the kill onto John, who will keep his life and then eventually commit to getting the bomb planted.
Needs to get this first kill here. You can't let them get set up inside a pool, and that's exactly what they're going to start to go for. John gets himself in. Open stairs is covered. Zig is covered. Pander has to start ripping some heads off here. Spots out John. They know where he is. Position is known. Pander finds that first one. 1v2, but he's got to read the player to his right inside of money right now as John still plays his life. Will throw a Semtex out. Doesn't check his right. There it is. Easter. They're going to close out the S&Ds, and they take map number 5, 6-3 to get their very first elite win here on the board.
How impressive were they able to do it as well? I mean, my goodness. I don't even know where to start. John? Okay, we'll start John.
Start with John.
Just my arm, why don't you, community at large, as I'm sure everyone is going to have plenty to say about the near 50 kills he dropped for the L in the control, but his ability to take over on the respawn in the first one specifically, search and destroy as well, played very fluently through. Very impressive from start to finish. I think the biggest thing, though, is not the fact that we're seeing John play as well as he is. It's the fact that this collective squad, there's so many positives to throw around. I don't even know where you start. I mean, Fellow looks incredible at the QBZ. Yeah. Gravity as well. I mean, he barely used the Krieg whatsoever in this matchup. And for a main AR, for him to find that much value is incredible as well. So this Easter team is looking pretty darn nice, I'll say.
Looking pretty good, Alan. And built by gamers, it's just like, if they can figure things out in the first couple of maps going in towards, a lot of these series for the elite, like they're just going to be so much better off because we know they have it in them. It's just they're slow to start a lot of the times. And I don't know if that's just a matter of figuring out, certain game modes, or if it's just slow to start in general and the teams they're playing are super hot. So they're able to kind of just take things by storm, set the tempo, and they can't match the tempo sometimes. That's what it felt like in the Hardpoint, right? Where they were just a little bit behind on the plays. So I feel like if that gets fixed, man, like this BBG who has shown us they can win cups, they can go for, very, very long days and win out on these tournaments. Like they still absolutely have a shot, but I feel like the big thing here for them is that they do have, a good performance in towards the stage 2, because it's making it in. Sure, that's a big factor, but we know how stage 1 went. It's not ideal. They got relegated here. You can't let that happen. I feel like going in towards stage 2.
Well, we'll see how things kind of unfold. Looking over the mainstream currently is watching over map 5 between Wester and Higher, which I'm surprised they'd be even saying that in the first place. But that's currently what's underway going on the main channel. The next match that we will be doing will actually be Wester playing up against the New York Subliners Academy, which is a repeat of the Stage 1 finals. So we'll be doing that one here next. Subliners, they actually lost to the Fantastic Four 1-3. And then updates going on between UT Crew and Aerial Arise. UT Crew find themselves up 2-0 going to a raid control. So with that said, we will be jumping into a pretty extended break while we're waiting for our teams to not only finish their matches, but also go through the picks and bans process for maps. And of course, beyond that, also getting the lobby set up. So stick with us here, but at least for the time being, if you're looking for more challengers to watch over, head on over to the mainstream at youtube.com/COD challengers. And we'll be back with Wester and Subliners Academy when the match is ready after this extended break.
Just keep breathing now, don't run away. We can still figure it out. Why do I do this? Why do I push you down? I'm reaching out. You think that I wanna let you go? Well, look at me in rice and bones. I wish that I knew what was wrong. What's wrong? You told me I don't know why I do more harm than good each time I look at you. You turn to stone like I'm a Medusa. Need my eyes all out before we both break down. 'Cause I'm Medusa. Medusa. Keep moving, don't wanna meet your eyes, 'cause something's wrong. Feels like your love is alive. Stop and think, maybe you're the bad guy. You say it's me, but why? You think that I wanna let you go? Well, look at me in rice and bones. I wish that I knew what was wrong. Could it be you that's wrong? You told me I don't know why I do more harm than good each time I look at you. You turn to stone like I'm Medusa. Need my eyes all out before we both break down. 'Cause I'm Medusa. Medusa. Driving past your house, I find myself in tears, thinking about the love we shared, thinking about the times we had. I don't know why I do this to myself. A foolish heart is all I have, so forgive me, love. It's a crying shame, it's a crying shame, baby. Crying shame, it's a crying shame. We ain't no mind. You will be on my mind. You will be on my mind. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Don't pause. Press play. 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 Don't pause. Press play. I wanna hear what you got to say. Press play. Press play. I wanna hear what you got to say. Don't pause, press play. Press play. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Press play. Don't pause. Don't pause. Press play. 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 Don't pause. Press play. I wanna hear what you got to say. Press play.
Welcome back, everybody. We're getting ready to go for what is a Stage 1 Grand Finals rematch between the New York Subliners Academy and Western. Now, to be fair, before we really kind of sell that storyline, you got to remember that these teams are different from when they had last played. Although, of course, because they were in the Grand Finals, they did not have to go through the qualifier again. And beyond that, a bit of a surprise, I would say, early on, as Fantastic Four was able to hand New York Subliners their first loss, and Western had to go Game 5 versus higher just to get past and give themselves a first W.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily clean getting in towards this. I think that's really one of the big takeaways for us. But there was just so much history between both of these rosters so far in towards the year, and now we got just such an interesting little kind of spice added in towards it, Alan, where we don't know exactly what's going to kind of take place because both teams haven't necessarily been looking the strongest. I feel like out of North America after a big change coming in. You have just so much kind of going on for as far as what we're going to get here, and I'm not really sure what to expect. With Glow Frosty not being on this roster, Hydra kind of coming in, there's a lot of things that they're kind of relearning and having to get them to fit in. I mean, we did know that Hydra, of course, is frying, and that's not unexpected by any means. But there is certainly a lot up in the air for both of these squads not being as strong as they originally were at the beginning of the season.
Great. We'll take a look at this best of 5 map series set as far as where these teams will be squaring up against one another. We're starting things where we kind of left things off from the last series. It'll be Raid for map number 1, and then a mix of Moscow, Checkmate, and then Miami to finish off the last couple of maps overall. And, just kind of looking back at as far as when these teams had last played each other in that grand finals, they're playing pretty much an essentially brand new map set. Although the Moscow Search and Destroy was seen in map number 2, and it was a dominating S&D performance from the New York Subliners Academy roster. So that's kind of the one map in specific that I'm kind of looking at to see specifically from Western's POV, have they kind of cleaned things up and become a little bit more resilient in their surge? Because I think that's one of the places we really looked at during this first split and said, they could use some work. They're not exactly the worst team overall when it comes to search, but there were some pretty big blowout losses that they did suffer along their run through the stage 1.
Yeah, there was, and getting that, of course, on par is going to be extremely important for as far as, being back to where they were, as we're talking about here. But I think that this pool is kind of interesting because a lot of it's going to maybe give shine to, some of the subs. I think the most anticipated player coming in towards this is obviously what we're going to get out of Hydra. And
Sure.
he was tearing things up in towards the EU scene. And it feels like he's been able to get himself, well fitted in towards what has happened towards the qualifier. He was still performing well individually. And now that they've gotten a little bit more time together to get everyone on the same page, we know what the sub machine gun line is potentially going to be able to do here for these guys. It's just a matter of, will the flex player that I'm not even totally aware of, coming in towards this is actually going to be able to perform up against what is going to likely be Haggy, of course, performing here for the Western squad. He comes off the London Royal Ravens. So there's just so many storylines and there's so many talented players. It's just getting that all kind of in sync for today's matches, and especially with the head-to-head going against each other here. This is also, a very crucial match for as far as when we're talking about the seeding and how things are going to pan out, where both of these squads, while we get to the end of the elite, very well could be playing that, playing for that spot. So yeah, there's a lot on the line for as far as what we're going to get.
And you just got to keep in mind the kind of story here that Glowfrosty now has a chance to get maybe a bit of revenge versus his former squad.
Right,
so it's like this narrative has many different motifs that build through it. And I think beyond that, it's just, Venom and Zap, is there any bad blood between what had happened after the first stage too? Right? Like it just seems that was all like a 2-week experience. We'll
wild.
say it that way. The fact of the matter is, Zap, he gets either dropped from the team, released from the team, leaves the team, whatever it happens to be, says he wants to bring the Wester brand with him. What we've kind of gathered was there was no immediate harm kind of intended anyone personally, and when it comes to that kind of engagement that had happened, but still, it's like, can you just kind of look past that and just immediately go forward? This Wester team, again, like we mentioned, is very vastly different now. Paul obviously playing with the London Royal Ravens. They were playing with Decimate for a time, Parasite in the conversation pool as well. These two teams are kind of finding a new identity in a certain way, and it comes with a bit of a weird matchup here in this one, because you've got that story of revenge, you've got that story of reconciliation between that SMG duo. It's just going to be really interesting, I think, to see what is going to be like the factors of success for both of these squads overall.
Yeah, that's going to be something to wonder about. Will that kind of play a factor as we go through this entire stage 2, especially after finding so much success? And it's just so interesting because this entire plan of the roster of Gravity, Paul, Venom, and Zap was to stick together right the entire year and get in towards an expansion team coming in towards the CDL and show everyone like this is what we had to prove. And they had a great start. They win the first 4 cups, and then things start to go downhill. Don't win the very first stage, and it leaves us in this interesting spot of were the right decisions made in the offseason coming in towards this new roster? We'll have to see if they still got it, because we're about to find out, ladies and gentlemen. Map number 1, Raid Hardpoint, about to take off.
And I'm kind of interested to see for the subliders, is it Spart now running main AR? Is that all they're running? Is this one AR? Because what is that? You had brought it up when you were kind of talking through it. What do you do compositionally with this new meta? And it looks like we are going to be getting largely 3 SMGs with just Spart on a QBZ. You also see Glowfrosty, and traditionally the main AR player has got a Krig in the mix. And well, the opening engagement between these squads will lead to some Wester favor. And we'll ignore the little match count thing over at the top here, as we are still on map number 1 overall.
Well, engagements come through so far good for Wester, as they're able to get a good chunk of the very first 30 seconds here for themselves. Saints is just worried about this rotation now, where they can maybe afford to give over a little bit more time, but they definitely don't want to lose this rotation. And with Saints when they're on towards Venom, that might have just solidified it, just depending on what ends up happening in these engagements in towards the back here. A couple players already on the move, as Saints is just going to be sitting in towards basketball, waiting for his teammates maybe to find that first kill so he can make his move. And with a lot of time going over to P1, NYSL Academy, they really do have to convert here on towards this Kitchen Hill.
Yeah, and you're already seeing just some of the pressure that's being established, because Wester's compositional favor is that. It's very positive for them kind of being able to lock down those long lines. Now, that said, Subliners Academy have worked into a close quarters area in Kitchen, so can those SMGs really come to life here? Trades would not suggest that that is indeed the case, but Saints playing for the money window will find a couple. It's going to force Zap to maybe take the challenge here, and as the regen comes through, Saints will eventually fall, and now all of a sudden Wester have broken through. and they've got a pretty solid lockdown. Hydra trying to finesse for as long as possible, but he's caught up a river without a paddle. That'll be Wester getting a convincing break with still 25 seconds to play.
Yeah, a good amount of time to play for here. Spart beating down and won't be able to land it. It's Venom who actually finds two, as Zaptius is already on the rotation, but glass being broken might just signal he's back here. Prolute's going to turn and make sure that there's no funny business happening on towards this third hill for us. But Alan, this is a lot of points collected, and sure, we talk about this garage hill being a money hill, but I mean, I said it last time in Kitchen, but this time, like, you really got to lock down some time here so things do not get out of hand.
Well, I mean, just look at what the setup is right now. I mean, you've got 3 SMGs kind of on a rogue mission on their own for this setup, and you've got your AR player just kind of roaming around in the back, just trying to hold some time. And so far, so good, as there will be some information gained for the subliners as far as where Wester are trying to break from. Prolute, playing his life over by Bedroom, has found another elimination. So now all the members in yellow will turn their attention over towards the next hit, which is coming from the side of the art museum and through Jim. And well, 3 kills come through quickly. Prolute trying to finesse, good damage. Parasite on the way in, no chance. It's the pistol that wins the day, and even though Glowfrosty finds the immediate trade, the number is still good for subliners, as that will put them over the 50-point mark. And likely beyond that also, I guess to mention, they will get full time here.
And Spart just picked up his first kill. So we talk about him stepping in towards his flex role and maybe feeling a bit of the pressure of what Parasite brings. You know, a very experienced AR player starting to find value in towards this game. As NYSL Academy, they're able to at least convert. But this is where we have to see them now actually win another rotation. It didn't happen too well in towards the kitchen hill. Now it needs to happen going in towards the basketball hill. It's Parasite holding down the middle of the map. He has Venom right beside him. It's a 3-man push. Parasite able to grab one, but Venom grabs the 2. And now it's Hydra where he's like, guys, we were supposed to win kitchen, so I'm allowed to make this play because they're reading it. And now he's also in a little bit of trouble.
And it's when plays like that aren't successful for the subliners, that's when they're going to find themselves in a very unfortunate position. Because look, this is all just SMGs running through the gut. Now, this time, Prolute finds a couple. Parasite locking things down as he gets the QBZ and a Semtex to work for him. And even though the subliners find their way in for a brief time, the Wester will be quick to recollect the scrap time, and we turn our attention over to what's going to happen over towards our 5th hardpoint, in which Saints has done well to wear in the statue for now. And there's still a lot of potential for them to make life difficult through the kitchen. So even though there is a pretty significant lead here for Wester, the subliners do have a pretty solid hold over this 5th hardpoint initial time.
Oh, you're just feeling so great. I mean, it's not even like anyone's necessarily having a crazy performance. Frosty's holding his own. Parasite's been able to add towards, you know, a couple of streaks here and there, but I think it's the simple fact that you just are not matching a lot of this AR pressure right now, and the subs are feeling it because they're not really allowed to come in with these entries, and they're being traded out. So it is a massive problem, but NYSL still find themselves in towards the new hill for themselves. Zaptius can't really land the shots there for that one, so Hydra able to play his life just a little bit longer. Gets good help there from Saints. The team shots are in, and finally, some positives to say about this NYSL Academy is they will fend off the 1st and 2nd push.
And I feel like it's going to be in situations like this that they're going to find the most success. I mean, going back towards that little breakthrough kitchen where it's 3 SMGs running through the gut, those are instances that you have to win. If this is what your loadout is going to be, you're going to run a 1-3 setup in which your main AR only has 3 actual kills right now. Your subs have to be good on breaks. And beyond that, once they get into a setup, they have to be scrappy. Individually, New York Subliners Academy is going to have to play just superior than Wester, because collectively as a group of 4, Wester has such a huge advantage based on just their setup, including the fact that your main AR of Glowfrosty is at 14-9 and Parasite flexing is at 10-9. That's against the 4-12 of Spark. So your subs are going to have to try to carry you through this, because at long range, Wester holds such a steep advantage.
They do, but NYSL bringing things back for us. That massive lead that they once were down has been brought back to, you know, just about 20 points in closing. So by no means is this one completely out of control, but you do want to try and find value on towards the P1 hill, as that's where Wester have actually gotten the majority of their points. And this is their chance for a break through the middle of the map. Spark finds himself too, finally heating up, as Prolute's also in the hill, adding a bit of presence. So they find the break about 30 seconds in, and this is great time to get over, as they also control spawns here for the time being on the kitchen side of the map.
And this is, I keep going back to it. I feel like I need to apologize, but let's be honest. If the subliners can continue to be scrappy like that and force Wester to make these up close and personal challenges, that's how subliners are going to win this map. And you see it even right now. Glowfrosty on the way in. It's a double AR hit for Wester to try to get into the kitchen. And it is for right now successful, but just look how fast the subliners can actually recontest this. You do have one player in the back still of Venom. Spawns for the subliners will be over towards the basketball court, and Venom is going to have to wait for help before they can make a play, and this is all great for the subliners. They put themselves right back into this game. It's a bit scrappy, bit dicey for right now, but at least you've made up a lot of the ground from that first rotation, just in what was a span of about 120 seconds.
Zappy is now also trying to get in there, but can't exactly land any of the shots here. They feel obligated to give this one last hit, so that's what Wester is going to try and do. It's just Hydra. He gets a bit of help there from ProLoot. The trade's there, swinging the way of NYSL Academy. Frosty, one last push, somehow just shreds through Spart with the Craig. Good there for one. Just a few seconds shaved off, but ProLoot, only one on this rotation. He's got to try and slow things down right now because he's got no one with him, and that's Zaptius with the easy cleanup. It's a bit of a spread across every single lane for NYSL, so they're gonna have to wait to regroup and actually hit this and coordinate a push in towards the garage.
Wester's setup is a bit more bunkered than what we saw from the subliners last we were here. So you're really looking at players like Venom and Zap to show up and read where this hit is coming from to allow the ARs to turn their attention exactly where they need to be. Spart for the first blood. That will block the spawns for Wester. ProLoot another. It's a 3-for-1 exchange. Last player inside the hill. No chance. And oh my goodness, how smooth was that break from the subliners. They worked their way in on their first attempt and now just down 10 points.
Just down 10 points here for themselves. Zaptius wants to fight for the last 25. He's got a lot of members to cut through. Hydra as well as Saints. Does he read the one to his left? He gets help, does turn. Might have been weak there from his teammate in from behind, but it doesn't matter because Saints there for the trade. So that is a massive break, and that's also a lead change for us. NYSL Academy going to be able to have themselves just a minor lead heading in towards this next hill, and we'll see if they can once again break through the middle of the map.
Same hit that they had last time around where everyone just floods into the kitchen. Spart the last one to survive on this initial attempt, which will allow Wester to get the free essentially 15 to 20 seconds. But the subliners have found success making their way through Laundry. Quick approach coming through. ProLoot on the way in. Zaptius deals with it. Semtex to try to keep him safe, and he's also got the help of Glowfrosty to try to make sure that the subliners are contested all the way down the staircase. But Sam seems to not make much of a difference as he tries to move forward. Trophy System denies his Semtex, and then Glowfrosty in turn denies him. 219 to 210 the current tally. Plenty of time still to fight for here, although it would be potential for Wester to win if they can find a way to silk up every last and final second. And hey, hold on a second. It's looking pretty solid. Still 3 blue members inside the hardpoint. Nobody from the subliners is even close. They could still win this game here by the exact second you have to touch if you're the subliner.
Oh, they do get a quick contest, but I think the kill comes in fast enough that it's not a full second, so Spart needs to slow it down. He can. It's a 5-3 for Parasite inside the point. NYSL Academy, they are not allowed to touch.
No.
But it doesn't matter. We go one more. NYSL Academy, they are set up for the new hill, but they got to play perfect hard point.
They're in a great setup, to be completely honest. You've got 2 players playing over by the statue, 2 inside the hard point, but 3 players fall, and Wester, they will walk right on in, get the last tenths of a second that were required to get to 250, and they will strike first here in map number 1. And it's one of those things that you have to give credit to what subliners were able to do in the second rotation, but it just comes down to the simple fact that the first set of hills was by no means whatsoever favorable towards the effort, and it just became too much of a gap for them to make up.
And to be fair, Spart also brought things back for us coming in towards the end of that, where he had, I think it was like 1-11 at one point in time, somewhere around there. He almost brings it back towards even at least. So, yeah, you're talking about having just, a little bit of a hotter start there, especially for your AR players on this map. It's just going to make things overall easier for ProLoot and Hydra to find these entries. And he was soaking up a lot of hill time, but they were just falling a little bit too far behind. And it was a big break there from Wester as well, where NYSL, they had themselves a chance to be able to break in towards that and hold that, and very well could have flipped that entire lead on its head and actually come out with this very first map. But clutch plays there for Wester, something that we've seen a lot from that name, at least in general, from the overall season. But so far it is going to be a very close one coming in towards the series, which is exactly what we expected here for us.
And I think we've officially learned that even though the clock reads in full seconds, there is some system behind it that works in tenths of seconds. We were sent a clip from the BBG game versus Easter where it looked like there was enough of a contest, but there was like a jump and like maybe he's not fully on the hard point and just needed a couple of tenths of seconds. The same thing that kind of existed right there where you only needed like a couple tenths of a second to get that final accumulation to 250, it felt like. So with that in mind, that's going to be map number 1 completed, 250 to 219, the final score. And as we get into the search and destroy, we turn our attention to Moscow. And just as a reminder, again, these teams are not the same as they were in stage one, but these two squads by organization played up against each other in the grand finals, in which the New York Subliners Academy found a 6-1 win when they had played a map 2 Moscow Search and Destroy a couple of weeks ago.
It did, and that was just pure or through their, aggression of what they really bring towards the table. And I feel like we talk about a lot of the S&D players coming in towards, challenges this year. And I think that we saw like Scrappy and Mohawk, a team that wasn't exactly finding a whole lot of success. And maybe that's due to the lack of practice with the squad that they had in the qualifier. But you look at a team that has someone like Prolute, who does come from the S&D scene and actually plays with a lot of those guys individually that I just brought up, has to bring so much value for as far as their shot calling. And I think that NYSL Academy, really has been on par with how they're looking to kind of play out a lot of the search and destroys off the back end of a lot of those situational plays that are just called for in the middle of those S&D rounds that either play a factor for as far as being on the same page and what they're looking to do, or just looking to change things up where it's just a curveball thrown in where you're just not expecting it and it catches you off guard and they're able to, take a massive advantage because of it. So yeah, NYSL, I don't think too much is really going to change from their strategy, right? It's just losing yourself Glow Frosty, who was one of your ARs,
right,
and Hydra towards the mix. So I think a lot of things could be fairly similar.
I mean, it's curious. I think initially when we talked about this at large, on the Diffuse, we talked about this on the air before.
Yeah.
With the New York Subliner CDL squad finishing top 3, and with the Subliners Academy winning stage 1 of the Elite Challenger Series in North America, we were kind of questioning, how does Hydra fit into the picture anywhere in New York? And we were kind of curious about, you don't really want to get rid of a Prolud or a Venom. So what are you doing with your ARs? Because Spart, let's be honest, as much as we love what he's been able to do as a flex player, through Modern Warfare, a lot of the instances of success that he brought was with an SMG in his hand.
Sure was.
So you've got 4 very fast players now in this New York Subliners Academy roster, and you're going into a meta where this is not EU, the QBZ is allowed. You still pretty much are required to run 2 ARs all the time. Whether it's 2 QBZs or a Krig and a QBZ, doesn't make much of a difference. But now you're in a world where you've got 4 essential SMG players, and how do you set up your main AR? How are you going to lock down who's going to quarterback some of these plays, not only in the respawn, but even beyond that, when you're on a more wide open search and destroy map? What are you going to do when you're playing up against a squad that could potentially pull out 3 ARs versus you?
That really can be the question. I mean, as much as the QBZ, it's classified as an AR. Let's be honest, Alan, that thing's a sub sometimes. It sure does. It sure does. So that kind of complements a lot of the play style, I feel like, for Wester as well, when you have someone like Parasite, who's probably going to be the main one running this. I think based off that first game, Glow Frosty feels pretty comfortable with the Krig. And I think, he's also one of the stronger Krig players, in challengers as well, for as far as what he's done. And he's been pretty successful. So it is not going to be easy to match the pressure of what NYSL might bring to Moscow. And with a lot of these hits that are kind of unfolding by A, where there's like, listen, let's just like get in towards the site. Let's use the aggression. Let's look to use Hydra and Prolute to create a bit of space for us so we can try and drop this bomb and play for a post plant here. But Western very well might just match that. I mean, we can't really sleep on some of the routes that Venom likes to take in towards search and destroy, where he's able to kind of get in from behind while the rest of the team faces and kind of just acts as a brick wall from the front, does not allow them to get towards lobby maybe on some of these defenses. So yeah, it's interesting to kind of theory craft how one player could shake things up, but I'm still expecting a lot of the strats that they did to be at least similar to how they were doing. And well, that was, as we talked about, through aggression and looking to take control with a lot of their team play and really just coordination.
Yeah, it's going to be very curious. A couple of updates, and UT Crew apparently was able to secure a 3-0 win versus Aerial Arise. That was happening off of both of the streams. Relatively tight affair in both the respawns. The search and destroy was anything but close. They now find themselves up. Aerial Rise now finds themselves playing up against Built by Gamers, in which, this is also very important to note, Apocalypse is in the rotation now.
Okay.
With the substitution of Crossroads being taken out of the mix. And the news was that Express is in the mix now for Search and Destroy in place of what was Garrison. So with that in mind, the first map that was played between BBG and Aerial Rise was Apocalypse Hardpoint. Now, I wasn't sure if we were going to see it. We were kind of speculating about it simply because of the fact that Europe has said no one's going to play it in this week number 1. We want to have some more time to kind of learn it. Would North America do the same? Apparently, the answer, no. So we will not have any Apocalypse in this best of 5, nor Express, but those maps are in the mix. And since we're still waiting on lobby, I just kind of want to get your thoughts if you had a chance to watch over much of either of those maps be played in Cold War as of yet.
I think Apocalypse plays really well, and I mean, we needed a change for some of the maps. I think that's fair, right? Like, we definitely need a change for some of them. So I'm a big fan of Apocalypse. I think with the 5 hills, it plays really well. There's a good flow. I like the bounces also between like the P1s, the P2s, the P3s. Like, I think it like fits really well for as far as what we got in rotation. And I'm a big fan of Express. I mean, I know this is almost kind of just turning into like a BO2 remake at this point in time. We're adding these maps in, and a lot of the competitive scene of what we had back then had these maps. But I think Express plays really well in Search and Destroy. I mean, I played a good amount of it for as far as just trying the map out. Like, does it fit? I feel like at least both bomb sites you can attack, right? Which is the main problem we have in Cold War. I mean, checkmate, right? You're only really hitting B. We looked at Garrison. No one was ever touching A. So there was a problem with a couple of the bomb sites where, at least in Express, you are going to be splitting up the defense for as far as picking and choosing what they're looking to try and defend and hold. But yeah, I'm excited, Alan. I think that both are really good maps for the rotation.
Well, like we mentioned, we will not see it here, but we will jump into map number 2, the Moscow Search and Destroy. And again, just as a brief reminder, we did mention the fact that when these two teams had last played, this was the map 2 in the grand finals of stage 1, and Subliners had their way with Wester. 6-1 total the last time they were here, but of course, a lot has changed since then. So as we jump on in, we will be taking a look at Wester onto the offense first. Pretty passive and orthodox start, but they are leaning towards a B hit, in which it would be up to this kind of duality between Prolute and Spart that are trying to help each other out from right in front of Globe.
Spart under fire. If he can take one down with him, that's really the goal. He has a bit of help from the middle of the map, but I don't know how much Prolute's going to be able to help him. He's kind of just out on his own, stuns and nades, everything being thrown at him. I mean, they better find the kill without a trade, and they do, because they used a lot of utility to make sure they find it. But it's Hydra who finds 2 in return as he rotates over with that QBZ, and now numbers advantage over to NYSL Academy.
I actually really love how Spart plays his life right there, because we see number 5 in Prolute. He was trying to work to the middle of the map. He throws a couple of shots out while that engagement trying to isolate Spart was coming under fire, and that actually slows Wester down considerably. They eventually get the kill into Prolute, so we're in a 2v2 situation. Saints, does he have timing to read this play through? Metro, almost lines up 2, but it's Glowfrost that has the final word. And with 13 seconds, it would require a Hydra ace for the Subliners to take away this first defensive round, and a defuse would be required as well. Timing could be good here. This is the first shot, able to get Glowfrost in. The second goes to the drop shot, nearly able to work himself into a situation to win the 1v1, but it will not come through here, and Wester strike first.
That was almost a big hello from Hydra saying, I'm here, baby. Hello. And it's 2 kills that just get lined up for him kind of by the street side, and then it's just a really good chance of being able to actually ace the round as he reads the play correctly coming over towards A. Just can't exactly find the second after being tagged up here for himself. So only 3 coming through there for Hydra, but Wester, they will find success on that very first offense, finding that first isolation, making the rotation over, sticking together, and now attack here for NYSL. And this is what we talked about, the strategy of hitting A. This is the NYSL Academy special, and that's exactly what they're going to line up to do.
And why not when you've got all these aggressive SMGs that can get into the mix? Although they are stalled right now inside of Eskies. 3 defense members for Wester are trying to lock this down, including Zapti is on the brick heady wall, which is a difficult position to shrug anybody away from. But as the subliners stack, they make their way forward, trying to clear the point. They do find Venom. Furlough keeps his life, tries to take the second challenge, but his kill will not be traded as of yet. Saints trying to track things down through the hedges, but this 2v2 has been delayed enough for everyone to be fully healthy, and essentially gives us 45 seconds to negotiate how this will work. Zap fans the first kill in this engagement. Hydra now again in a clutch situation, 1v2.
Can he get this one? He might be trying to bait them away for as far as a rotation. Little jump peek gonna come through. Oh, he's gonna make the play. He's gonna go open around. Hydra finds the first one. Oh man, I've seen that happen a couple of times. I love it. It almost works out. Just gets traded out in the end.
I will not even lie. I've never seen that route.
Oh, really?
That's my
I remember seeing it on a subreddit. And I was like, that's no
I was sitting here like, bro, wait, what is he doing? Wait, what is he doing? That's nuts. That would have been, I mean, you said he's subreddit worthy. That would have been Reddit worthy if he clutches the 1v2 from that flank. Oh, man.
Zap just on 4 now, too.
Yeah.
So this is pretty big. Try to get some baits going here for Zap, and I want to say Zap's usually the bomb carrier, right? So I think Venom picks it up this round to let him play for kills, and it is Glow Frosty Finds that first kill on towards Saints. Parasite right there for Hydra. Pro loot there again, and trades back and forth we go, but it leaves Spart in the end for what has to be a 1v2 if they want to get their first round.
Look, it's off screen, but we'll likely see it as play of the round. That's a hell of a finesse from Parasite to respond to both players around him. Double slide shell coming through. Spart will deal with it. Semtex comes out, tags him down low, but Zaptius cannot convert. Now goes inside to the lobby. 1v1 with 45 to play. Plenty of time. And if Zap can find the kill, he would be on 5 straight, and the potential of streaks. Stun check is good. Spart, has he read this correctly? Zaptius will stick for the plant and reset the clock to 45 for the 1v1.
I feel like you could take a route here, but instead Zap, he's going to get early information. You're on 4. If he goes for the defuse, he goes for the defuse, but Zap's kind of playing back and forth with them. 74 U's going to be picked up. Spart doesn't choose the right angle. Zap maybe doesn't either. Now both are going to encounter each other. Spart shutting down the streak. No streaks coming in early here for Zaptius as NYSL Academy, thanks to Spart, they'll find their very first round.
Yeah, that's a massive 1v1 for the subliners. You get on the board first and foremost. You don't want to go down 0-3. And with the shutdown of the streaks, well, let's just put it the other way. If he were to have not shut down those streaks, there is a lot of potential that the subliners would have to really change their next setup to make sure that Wester don't get a round 4 set of streaks, because that would have been what the play would have been for the entire round for Wester. So everything comes back to a certain level of calm. The subliners will go to the next offense, and it looks like once more they will go heavy SMGs and make a play aggressively over to A. All 4 members stack this direction.
Zap here and Venom, they've been working the site. Oh, no chance. They both go down immediately. No trades yet. Glow Frosty has to try and salvage the push, and he does get himself one, but can he get himself out? He's got assistance. It is still possible to retake this. Are they going to expect both players being back here?
And Parasite's got an AR as well, so they're going to have to do this very, very responsibly. And how about it? They've got an angle over the top of the bomb. Parasite's just going to go? How is nobody watching him? Hydra, what happened right there? Goes for the mantle. Parasite nearly gets the snap on, but it's actually Hydra that makes up for maybe his own mistake, leaving his teammate out to dry, finds the final 2 kills. And we go tied 2-2, and okay, I was about to say, he was in that corner by the brick wall, but he was never actually watching over the bomb. He was watching the back alley by the pillars, so I may have spoke a little bit too soon. Regardless, an impressive 2 kills to clean up the round.
I think it's one of those moments where there's 3 players alive, right, trying to play for the post plant. There's 3 entryways in towards A, and everyone's watching one way. And then as soon as he goes to plant the bomb, they hit from the front. And you're just like, did he really just hit that from the front with an AR? It's like, yes, he did, and kind of caught them off guard a little bit. But nonetheless, look at this round. Hello. Let's get a little mixy in the middle of the map as it's going to be a team kill. Not ideal, and well, right away, NYSL Academy go down in about 15 seconds on that defensive round.
Yeah, that one might need to go back to the lab. Just talk about it real quick. I mean, you can see it. Just look at all those yellow arrows just jump sliding around the corner. And okay, this is something that we see the Los Angeles Guerrillas do a lot, where they send 2 players to the middle of the map. You can't just defensively flood through, because that AR lane through benches is difficult to deal with. So you got to at least throw shoulders before you decide how you want to challenge. And unfortunately, the team kill kind of kills that defensive play before it can really get started. So back over to A, wouldn't you guess it? And Wester will be here defensively with numbers as well. 2 players going to play over towards the benches. Zaptius picked for the first, wants the second. It's him and Venom that combined for a double. Beautiful team shots, as you mentioned, and now a 4v2 situation favoring Wester's defense.
Yeah, this is all them, and they know where Hydra is. Saints does find one. Hydra finds one as well. Almost gets that second, but Saints forced to clutch up here against Zaptius and Parasite. They know exactly where he was. Shots go down, and the Parasite turns it into a 1v1. Now just bolts it towards the middle of the map, tries to reset the fight, gets the full regen, and Parasite has to kind of back up because he has no idea where Saints just went.
It's a hell of a recovery in the 2v4 situation for the subliners. Parasite is reset through the middle of the map. Saints collecting the bomb. Has timed if he wants to try to play through to B, but it would be by no means an easy endeavor to consider that in Parasite. I believe I've just seen him. Yeah, sure has. Wanted an SMG and then said, oh, well, there he is. I'll just go ahead and use the AR. So the round that should have came through with maybe a little bit more ease after these first 2 kills from Venom and Zaptius were found eventually gets collected by Wester, and they find themselves up 4-2.
Yeah, I just love this play because you're almost always going to check, that bricks rotation there for as far as one player, but are you really going to expect two players to be crouching in there? Like, probably not. So I like the idea of what they're trying to accomplish, and they really just kind of lock that down. 2v4 comes down to a 1v1 in the end, but still great plays here for Wester as they're starting to deal with a lot of the A pushes on the offense, but they're on the offense of their own, and this is not NYSL Academy going for a 4-man hit through the middle of the map. So they are going to have to try and play for some reads. It's Spart on the street side. He's about to get some information if they keep poking out their shoulders here and their heads. Stuns coming in and out there. Spart might just land that one, but no, he doesn't. So maybe not some information just yet, but Venom, he's still pushed up with the bomb.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting decision for Wester because they don't have any information at all towards A. And you only saw a couple of maybe players over towards the B site. So this is essentially going to be a gut check call to get into A. A lot of clearing has to be done, but Glowfrosty stays and lurks through the street, finding Spart. And now that the hit is starting to come through over towards A, Saints and Hydra, the only two members that are here currently defensively. Prolute in the middle of the map is considering playing through Eskies, and you might have to consider it a little bit more seriously as Hydra has to back up, and we reset to another 2v4 situation favoring Wester.
Bombs down. Prolute finds one. Hydra now needs to clutch up here. Gets himself to kill, but trade's good. Wester playing too clean at the moment, Alan. These entries just looking ever strong, and that's going to find them 5-2 up here. A chance to go 2 up in the series. Just need that last round to come through.
And it's just, you're really starting to feel the negative side effects of not having a true main AR in the mix. Is that's not to kind of put a spotlight on it, but is that gunfight between Spartan and Glowfrosty exemplifying that more than anything else? That's 2 ARs, same situation. They're all sitting over towards that outer street. Spart gets beamed, and now all of a sudden you're just hoping that Hydra can play flex. Like, it just feels like the subliners are really missing that stapled main anchor AR right now, and it's really paying off in a major way. Even offensively, it's just been heavy stack hits, floods through A. They're going to try to make something happen over towards the B site, but Saints just gets caught peeking through the window. Parasite for 5 straight kills, and Wester in a very solid position with another 4v3 to potentially put the map away here.
Venom just playing for shoulders. There it is. They get the info. And if one person's here, the rest are likely here. So Wester about to make a full-on rotation. You got player 2 cut in the middle of the map. The last 3 just sitting back lobby. They're playing for the retake. Bomb will go down. Wester, chance to close things out here with the numbers advantage.
Parasite for another. Spart up top. Has to find a couple and does. Should know the third player's nearby. Tries to go for the spam. Goes down to the pistol, but Glowfrosty there for the help. And that will be enough for Wester to clean things up, get the defuse, and go up 2-0 in the series with a 6-2 win here in Moscow.
There's a lot of kills in a row there. Actually, I was a little puzzled on who maybe came out with the trades even while watching, but Spart here giving them a chance. Like, he almost lines up 3. He gets the confirmation on Venom, but Glowfrosty wins that battle and comes and helps and makes sure that the trade does, in fact, come through. So Wester, man, looking pretty good, and 2-0 up here. Not how I expected it to go. I really did think that NYSL Academy were going to find a lot more favor. I thought in towards the search and destroy, but once their A hits got shut down, there no real chance of being able to get anything else going. And there wasn't like there was any teams also trying to make something happen over by that B site there on the street. It was just a matter of playing to the middle of the map or trying to just kind of break your way in towards the A site. And if it didn't work like it did for their NYSL Academy, then they felt a lot of the pressure and lost a lot of rounds because of it.
There's a lot of pressure, I feel like, on the subliners right now when it comes not down to this match in particular, but you'd be falling 0-2 in the early stages of this second split. And beyond that, I feel like the question that hasn't really been considered as far as an answer yet is what's going to happen with these ARs. It's just, that's a lot of pressure on Hydra, I feel like, to sit there and say, hey, come on in. We know you're an incredible SMG player, but we're going to need you to pull up the second AR while also learning English.
That too.
There's so many things that would have to be, I feel like, corrected just off of what this roster provides. I mean, it's one of those things that I feel like if the QBZ were to find the same GAs that the European scene has marked on it, that this team could be all right. 3 SMGs with the 3, with Prolute and Venom with Prolute and Hydra specifically kind of holding things down, that would be a totally different story. But at the moment with Prolute, Saints, and Hydra not really sure who's running that second AR. It just feels like there are a lot of answers that are going to be required of them. And well, that conversation will extend to a checkmate control in which you really do need ARs to open up lanes for you to have success SMG wise to get up close and personal on either of these two control points.
You really do. And you talk about the pressure of like coming into this roster and sure having to fulfill the role, but talk about coming into a roster that was successful, just won stage 1, and someone has to be dropped for you. And think of the atmosphere I feel like that you're coming into. And not to say that there's anything against, Saints coming in here with Prolude as well as Spart, but it definitely makes you wonder, how things are kind of going behind the scenes and how practice has been kind of leading up here for these guys, because you are taking a spot of someone who just ended up winning stage 1. So you have to kind of wonder, and with already losing 0-1 and now going in towards a series where you're playing a squad that's also pretty new, coming in towards the mix with 2 new players here. They're not necessarily fully meshed out either. So it definitely makes you kind of wonder for as far as, how the squad's going to be able to do and how they're going to be able to bounce back. But this is going to be a problem. Checkmate control. We've seen it the entire year. It's the one map that teams have kind of just handshaked and said, all right, we don't like playing red. And it's like, all right, we don't like playing Garrison. So here we are. We're going in towards checkmate. And yeah, your ARs are going to have to step up. Spart had a slow start towards the raid, and you can't let that happen here where you're already 0-2 down.
We'll see. It's just one of those things. Whenever we get to a position where the SMGs are where the team is finding success, there have been instances of that in the past. We talk about like early hire, some of the ARs on this map not having great overall showings. You need someone in the SMG line just to completely take over the map. And I feel like that conversation will be in place here as well. But maybe not. Sparta's found 3 straight kills to start things off defensively for the subliners, and that would mean that Wester will have to consider what exactly they want to do to work towards the middle of the plane.
Hey, we said Spart had to perform. 3-0 start. That's pretty good in my books. Now trying to lock them down in towards the spawn. There's 4. Keeping them pretty tucked in towards the back left right now. Zappi is trying to clear out a bit of space underneath the plane. Venom, he finds a big one-on-one there. And, well, as we see that follow, Zaptius also finds Spart here. So now a chance to be able to move up on towards the map, but you still got Prolude causing havoc in towards the back of your spawn, just chipping away at the lives. Parasite able to clean up 2, and Venom with another one inside the plane. This is a chance to be able to make some progress over by A.
And this is good from Prolude overall to come back to the plane, recontrol it. It will allow the subliners to get out of spawn and have a position to set themselves up for a potential retake. Parasite down low. Look at the shot punch off, so now numbers starting to prevail for the subliners. Hydra takes down Zap, and that will clear the A site. Second tick of progress will be stalled and largely depleted. That means that Wester coming out of their own spawn with not a lot of time to play have to find some favor off of a flood. And okay, Spart is showing up. 6-2. Really good start for him overall. Parasite able to find a couple of consolation kills, but you're still going to be hard-pressed, I think, if you're Wester, to find a way to get onto either of these control zones with success.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing right now is just trying to play for some kills, right? If you can maybe start to make some progress happen, buy A, great, you have a chance still, but finding as many kills as possible and keeping it as even as possible, since more often than not it goes to round 5s, is great, but they do manage to get a 3-man stack, so they get a full minute. That's actually pretty wild, the fact that they're able to do that, and successfully they will get themselves 1 zone capture, but can they make their way over towards B? Parasite says, yes, I can. I'm on 5 in a row, and I'm starting to heat up.
That's a moment that you could sit and break down for about 20 minutes. The play from Wester was get towards the middle of the plane and then full flood back over to A. And Hydra up top, I believe he was in the plane, never even looked over the wing. You saw that the New York subliners, they wanted to try to retake, but Spart was kind of left by himself because Hydra pushed through the plane to try to stall off reinforcements and clear the B zone instead of trying to clear A. So the extra 60 seconds is appreciated. And beyond that, the fight for the plane is going pretty darn well for the side of Wester. They're in a position to where they could touch. And well, early streaks will be called for Parasite, trying to open up some space and get them on, but the kills from the subliners just a touch too good, and it's gonna have to be a special play from Wester to get onto this B zone.
They'd have to go massive. You have to stall the clock here, most importantly, so you can't leave the zone, and Spartan makes sure that no one is on the zone. One last chance for a touch here for Glow Frosty, but he's also got to win that gunfight on towards Prolude. Venom, can he get there? He can't. So streaks used, won't pay off. NYSL Academy got a bit dicey in the end, but they'll still hold out here for their first defensive win.
Yeah, and it's one of those moments, just to kind of say, I had to feel like the subliners will go back through and rewatch that kind of, are we going to challenge the A zone? Because that's a conversation that absolutely needs to happen. And honestly, it looked like, based on the positions of where the subliners were, that it would be favorable for a retake from the side and from the front, because they have the ability to just fly out of the plane for free. But they decide to kind of show some restraint, and maybe it just wasn't fully communicated over. But regardless, they get away with the defensive round win. Still pretty comfortable as well beyond that. But the problem so far has been Parasite. He's 11-4. And, that's one of the things that I feel like we talked about a lot last year in Modern Warfare about Parasite. His ability to flex around between different weapons was really showcased in Modern Warfare Challengers year. He had the highest overall average placement across North America with like a 4.6 average placing. The next closest was like 8. That is ridiculous. And he's starting to showcase some of that flexibility here with this Western squad as he goes 11-5.
11-5. NYSL Academy trying to shut some more of that down as they do get themselves over towards this A zone. Hydra for 1. Can he make a move for 2? Yes, he can. 3rd, not there, but that's fine. You've been able to create some space. Saints, the last one, pushed up near the A zone. Not there, so Prelude forced to now find some kills and play out as he might find Glow Frosty, but no, Glow Frosty with a snapper will take him out of the power position. And now you're able to breathe here for the side of Wester as you can start pushing up and start taking away some map control.
Zap from the plane exit. Couple of contestants. Deals with the first. Avoids the challenge from the second. Tries to go to the low ground, but Saints will follow him, and that will be good enough for the trade. But trades are not going to be good enough for the offense largely with only 25 seconds to play. Need to find a way to get through Venom and onto a site. He is on 5 in a row. Parasite behind him again, streaking on 4 straight kills. And between the two of these guys, there has not been an answer, it feels like, from the subliners. At least not this round. Glow Frosty drops. Parasite also previously had fallen in the kill feed, so it leaves things now just down to Venom to hold for streaks. Not going to be able to, but regardless of the potential extra resources, the defensive Wester look to be holding very strongly as Prelude's going to try to touch.
Again.
That's tough.
I mean, it's 1 second, right? Anyways, probably, yeah, it's probably 1-1, right? Like, I think you play this for 1-1, but the problem is the kills. The kills are so different for as far as what you can see right now. Like, I guess you maybe have to take a screenshot, and if it ends up going the distance here, then you gotta kind of calculate this in, right? Like, I feel like that's kind of the factor for us. Man, that's definitely tough. It's definitely tough because it was a pretty competitive one. You had a lot of streaking players there for the side of Wester that were taking over, but we'll probably just get ourselves a reset and back in towards the map.
Indeed. We'll just send things here to just a brief pause. I just want to make sure we can check in with the players accordingly and make sure that we get the full response as far as if it will be a 1-1 or a 1-0 or what's exactly going to happen. Some things could be concerned about when it comes to that overall. But as far as other updates around what's happening, we're in our second slot of matches. UT Crew, oh my god, they're up 2-0 versus Fantastic Four. So this Fantastic Four squad 3-1 the New York Subliners Academy. UT Crew in their opening matchup 3-0 Aerial Arise, and now they're up 2-0 versus Fantastic Four. Goodness gracious. Built by Gamers has 3-0 Aerial Arise in their second matchup, and then Easter and Higher, it looks like it is a 2-0 in favor of Easter. So those are some updates as far as what's happening across the other matches, but for right now, we're just going to send things to a brief pause, get everything straightened out, and come back into the control once the lobby is reset. Be right back.
Next up from the Netherlands, Beat Plant.
I had a dream you died last night. I woke up mouthing things I should have said, but I slept on those words instead. You haunt the stairways in my head. You're the monster under my bed. Reach for me when I repent, and I should have learned. I should have learned. You're the monster under my bed, making mess I keep trying to address. Cannot come to terms with the monster under my bed. I told you secrets I should have kept. You spill them up as I collect, but I fall for it half a million times. Like a bad old house, just one peek inside. You're the mystery with hell of a history. My hands are red. You're the monster under my bed. Reach for me when I repent, and I should have learned. I should have learned. You're the monster under my bed, making mess I keep trying to address. Cannot come to terms with the monster under my bed.
Welcome back, fellow friends. We did have a scan and repair issue with the host, but we're coming back into what will be a 1-1 tie currently after the restart here in the control. And well, both offenses having a bit of troubles kind of getting things going, at least capturing the second zone. We did see the A zone go through successfully last time Wester were on offense, and they're looking to make the same play, but the flank from behind, Prelude, was only good for 1 kill. So actually, that's good news for Wester as they come on top of the favorable trades, 4 for 1 overall, and that will lead to at least 1 tick of progress, if not maybe more, here on the A zone.
Yeah, they have to try and get over towards B first. You can see them want to fight for the plane control before they go and retake A. It is just Zaptius on the zone, so they're not really capturing a lot of time very quickly, but they are stalling the clock and have a chance to be able to work for some of these kills. Glow Frosty finding Spart. It's really up to Prelude at the moment as his teammates are inside the plane to see if he can maybe find some value. Finds the kill, waits for the teammates to collapse. Glow Frosty for 1. Hydra here to maybe find the last 2, and he does so successfully, reading the push on the next player, but there will be 2 ticks already captured over by A.
And I just love the discipline from Venom to stay up top and just watch that angle from the wing. He knows that he's safe up top overall, and well, those players from Subliners Academy defensive are going to have to exit that A zone eventually, so he's able to work a couple of kills, and now Wester, once again, favorable kill feed until Hydra gets involved, clears out some of the plane for 2 kills, down to about 45 seconds to play. Glow Frosty over towards the A zone, dealt with by Hydra, good long-range shots, barely takes any damage in the process. And the large reason why the subliners are even remotely close to holding a defense is because of Hydra. Finds himself 1 more, tries to get the Semtex to create some space. The Parasite finally fed up with it, finds the elimination, and that should be the A zone incompletion going in favor of Wester.
Yeah, it's a bit of a problem right now for what we're getting out of these guys. I mean, it's really just the Hydra show. It's why they're still in this one. Hydra 8 and 4 coming in towards the reset and has really set the tone. But 8 goes over. Minute 30 to work with. You have a slight life lead, but we know how often that can get diminished just off of 1 big play. And Prelude's starting to make that play happen, but luckily enough, you have Parasite for the trade. So now you just need to kind of battle out of your base here. Take it 1 step at a time and 1 kill at a time as time is really just ticking away for them. But it's Hydra finds 1 more before finally being cut down.
Nuts. He's
feeling it, man.
Really is. He's just good. That guy's good, man. Remind him like that Snoop Dogg gift. Like, oh yeah, that guy, he's good. He don't miss. Impressive shots to be sure, but Wester's offense still gaining some ground. Have a little bit of a life lead to keep in mind as well. Down to only a respawn per player here for NYSL. Zaptius with a couple of kills. Spartan needs to hold his life, but as he tries to take a challenge versus Zap. He gets cut down. 10 plays 6. Zappy is up top. We'll find one more. He's now on 4 in a row. Glowfrosty trying to make some punishment happen into the New York Subliners Academy respawn point, and that will indeed play a big difference maker. Final 3 lives for the Subliners. Wester will have a successful offense. They don't even need to really even stall out the clock. Just down to 1. It's Prolute and 1v8.
No chance for Prolute, but really interesting round, right? If we go back to when Moscow was in the rotation for control, what was the big thing that Wester were really good at doing on the map? It was stalling the clock and then getting a lot of kills. Now, Hydra made things a tad bit more difficult, but the same idea was, currently attack, where they had only Zappius on the zone, so progress wasn't coming through very quickly, but they were slaying out, and that's what kind of led to the massive deficit for the NYSL Academy, because they just didn't really have the lives, the numbers to contest a lot of these gunfights any longer, and they were forced to make plays because they were on the zone contesting. So yeah, Wester come away with a very nice round here for themselves, and now you are in a massive pressure point for NYSL Academy. You have to respond on the attack here, or you are being 3-0'd here, and you have an 0-2 start towards week 1.
Hydra's going to hit a route right to B. And the question and consideration he has to make up here is, do you play for this little hit through the flank, and how far do you want to go? Well, he wanted to help his teammates clear out the plane itself. Shots, Glowfrosty trying to chase. Will eventually draw a line in the sand and says, I'll just take the SMG and hold my life, in which Wester's defense has once again held a pretty strong initial defensive line.
You don't have any mid-map control either, so it's a lot of battling from the high ground unless we can see a big play from Hydra. He's done it a couple times, but can't deliver against more than 2 players that battle up against him. Spart finds 2 in return, trying to relieve a bit of the pressure coming out of the spawn, but you're getting lower and lower on time. So getting some crucial progress here is going to be so important for the simple fact of staying alive in this one, as Glowfrosty's taken down for the back, the push from the front. There's Zappius, and they'll be able to break it here as they make their way in and stop that second tick.
And Venom just continues to wreak havoc inside the plane. And now that he's got teammates behind him, he will actually try to push a little bit further forward. This is what we love to see from Wester of old, where you win a handful of kills and you push the envelope as far as possible. But Spart, Saints combined for 3. Prolute gets the 4th. This could be a full stack onto the A zone for what should be an extension of the clock. And we're tied in lives, you got to keep in mind. 20 playing up against 20, and this is a great opportunity for Subliners to make something happen on their offense.
You can take a deep breath here. Still in this one. Minute 24. That's what you have to work with. No progress made by B. But Hydra, a chance maybe to find a push through. It's just a matter of, is he going to win that gunfight versus Venom? He does, in fact, win the gunfight as he's trying to draw some pressure away from the middle of the plane, so his teammates are actually allowed to push up on towards the map. Prolute also finds 2, so that's going to make things even better. Can he find the 3rd? He's got a sight on towards Glowfrosty, just can't really land the line of sight again. So Glowfrosty there with a response, trying to play some great defense.
This is taking a lot of time from the Subliners, though. The kills are not terrible, and I was going to say, someone's going to have to clear out Glowfrosty, and they need to stall the clock for as much as possible here. Beyond that, they might even really sneak a first tick of progress, as Wester are coming out of spawn trying to play for some plane control, but boy, have they cleaned it up very quickly. 2 players already dropped. And take a look at the blue arrows. Parasite number 4 has already moved his way through. He finds another elimination off screen. Glowfrosty trying to keep things locked down over towards the backside of the wooden buildings. Well, he does well enough. Venom now taking the place where Parasite previously? One of the 2. And that will lead to, again, that Wester defensive line being pushed up really far close towards the Subliners Academy respawn point.
When you feel like you got one more hit and you just lost Saints, Zappius does get a trade, or does get traded rather, as they'll fight for plane control, but they lose the battles, and it's not looking great. You only got 15 seconds left. You got to somehow stall this clock. 5 lives remaining. A stick is there, so Saints maybe create some space. A chance to be able to get towards the zone as he's going to take the right wing. Can he get in from behind? Saints for 3. Goes to the QBZ. Can't get the last one, but Prolute, he's on the time, and he's stopping the clock. 3 lives is all they have, but can they do it?
You got to keep in mind that even though the lives are not great for NYSL, they will force Wester had to make a play against them, but unfortunately, a lot of explosive damage coming through, and the ARs cleaning things up. Wester technically win the map 3-1 overall, and that means they 3-0. I don't even want to say if they're their rivals anymore at this point, but 3-0 is some of their toughest adversaries. Yeah,
right?
I mean,
So, kind of.
That's true. I guess that's true. Glowfrosty does get shut down, but it's, man, I have a lot of thoughts, but I want to get your reactions first to this map.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I want to say that Wester, I think, is playing really well. And
Agreed.
there was a lot of moments where we were seeing like the beginning of Wester off the start of the year where, they're putting themselves in situations where they're just stalling the clock in control, fanning out, getting kills. Like there's an understanding. And I have to assume that voice probably comes from people like Zaptius, who's making a lot of in-game calls, but as well as Parasite now. So now you likely have two massive vocal players on your squad that seem to make everything just come together. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest takeaways. But on the other hand, I think NYSL Academy, they just need a little bit more time because there seems to be some role issues now, right? Where you just have to kind of figure out who's playing what. And it's not going to happen, right away. If you're picking up an AR and you haven't been using one all year, whether it's a different gun or not, like you're not going to be, just popping off immediately. So I think there's some role issues for NYSL Academy, and we're starting to feel it really early in towards at least the beginning of stage 2.
Yeah, I've got a lot of conversation points on that overall as well. But let's take a look back at this 3-map series that we ended up getting here and kind of recollecting what had happened where. 250-219, the raid Hardpoint, a slow start for the New York Subliners Academy roster in which they started to pull the game back really tightly, but they could not quite extend it long enough to get the full recovery. 6-2 on the search and destroy, anything but close there in favor of Wester, and some similar things I think could be said about the checkmate control. And the thing that I will challenge the audience out there at large on is the fact that I feel like a lot of people are going to look at the Subliners Academy roster right now and say, this isn't it. Whether you could put a lens on somebody, but the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, they're going to have to, it's going to take time, like you mentioned, to learn how they want to work around this. And is there the possibility that this roster does not work out because of the current meta? I think the answer could be yes, but it's just going to come down to one of those things that people are going to have to learn and adjust. It just comes down to who are you looking at to do that. Losing Glowfrosty is huge to this roster. That's a main AR completely off the table for you. You already had Spart, who is running an AR flex in the first place and was largely running that M4 in aggressive nature. Now he's running main AR with a QBZ, not even a Krig largely throughout.
That's true.
And then are you looking at Hydra as being like, hey, welcome to America. Would you like to learn how to play AR? Because that's kind of also what seems to be the case, that he's running that AR flex as the second AR in some of these search and destroys and bigger respawn maps. And I think there is a world to where if they can find ways to lock down the QBZ, in which Spart would have to learn to play a little bit slower, Hydra would also kind of have to put the brakes down a little bit. If they were to lock down their roles efficiently, this team has explosive potential because of their natural ability to play fast. So I think that if they were to figure it out, this team could be very successful, but it's going to be a long first week for these guys, I think overall.
So. Yeah, a lot of odd review. And will that help them? Maybe you're right, Alan. Maybe after time it will. It just, to me, it just feels like, man, looking back on it, it didn't really register in my head to the fact that, they dropped Glowfrosty. Like, doesn't really make much sense, right? Like, if this was a 3-sub meta, was a 3-sub meta, man, like, oh, dude, I could see NYSL Academy just running over teams because they wouldn't be able to keep up with the tempo. But now I'm just like, we'll see what happens week 2. I'm not sure what to expect.
Yeah, taking a look just to see here what their schedule would be, just because now I'm curious as far as who they would play through the rest of the week to kind of finish off week number 1. Because let's be honest, these are not easy opponents to go up against first and foremost for this squad. You go up and you have to play up against Wester and Fantastic Four. Both teams are looking great. So tomorrow they play up against Easter and UT Crew. Oh man, there's not a break for him anywhere.
Nope.
You would have loved to have had Aerial Arise, I think, in one of those matchups.
You probably would.
That is not exactly great overall. But hopefully things will come through for Wester overall. I know a lot of you guys are interested to see what they have to go up against. Tomorrow they play the Fantastic Four. That's actually an off-stream match. We're going to have to broadcast that. And then they play up against Aerial Arise for their second matchup. So that's kind of what is unfolding for both of these squads looking into tomorrow, which brings us to our next point of conversation that we'll be signing off for now. And we'll be jumping back on tomorrow for both Europe and North America for the community stream. You're not going to want to miss that 3:00 p.m. Eastern start time for Europe. And then it comes right back live again here at 8:00 p.m. Eastern for the North American day on Wednesday. Proper has been locking things down for us, blessing us with some production help. So he will be getting some casting time on both of those regions tomorrow. So big shout outs and love to him for the evening. But for now, we say farewell. And until next time, we hope you guys out there keep holding it down. So long.
I I think that you should come back home.